Log on to www.GhanaWaves.com and feel the Ghanaian radio. The best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
Asemi besini kwemba
Okay, you might take for you now. Akwaba at the back. Ghana Waves, Casafidies will be able to in check us here and come out. Say, over USA, over France, Germany, Holland, Canada, Australia. Maybe I will be here with Ghana Waves, Hamrabia, and you teach a munina. And then a yawada. Na do a say yawada said, ya na share transit a no donko. A simple say near your pimpemboswa, Cordiana, share a on mine emo and sem. Nene ensembebre ana why behwe ne mom ne nyane se E-Levy ho sensem e ya dia e da Ghana fo akoma so especially omo wo fi ne mom ama no nyina e don akoma so pa ne nyane se E-Levy no ase emu nchechirimu enhyeda enya nna ho nene aban no eye Townhall meeting e wo Koforidua na odi emu nchechirimu e de aba ama Ghana fo ehun se E-Levy nankasa no emu esinsem esitie de na yakase E-Levy de ba de na de ba de de ben na E-Levy no e ba affect no na dwumadie ben na E-Levy no so ba e ba bedi de aboa ma oman no ni nyina no ommo se ene omma tete sanse ni nyina e wo mra omma sinkunya e wo Koforidua na ommo de Townhall meeting ommo ya fa E-Levy no ho e de abrawo medin ade Richard Kujo efisi amra kofim se E-Levy no Townhall meeting baso de mene na esinkunya kofim se omode omonsem ombeka no enyina beba omopon ebetena se ne adwendwen ba komienu bi ho ne ehu se de ensem nyina esitie so ewo ho na meka wo se Ghana Waves app no free of charge a ubetimi akwa download misira o download a unjeka prebe bia de enso beko Play Store na se App Store no search for Ghana Waves radio unsaka pa download app no na osujuma ese odidi no ubetimi de adi na meka so app ye mo akwanya ma wutimi etie radio stations bebre e wo my Ghana mo no achi no so no se bia pese wo hwe wani su dia ene ye wo different TV stations so na so betima hwe bi e wo so ebiom ye wo YouTube channels bebre te se Kojo Sheldon Delay Show any Kofi TV any other ones e wo so na so ko a ebetima ye omo na so betima hwe ne ekoso e wo ho ebiom na meza eka wo se app krona so ye wo different website so a okoko so say ebia se Star FM na abekwa a omo website so Peace FM na bitia omo website so station be so tibia no a omo website nkwan de eka app no ho a obetimi akenkan stories and so etwagu ewo oman Ghana mu ni nyina ewo ho a omre ho kura obu ho a o se me opadom TV pamba chana medical kan ni TV station adom TV wo so enti obetimi akwhwe adom TV ewo Ghana Waves app no so a ebetimi aboawo ama wo so wetimi enya enigiem ewo entertainment abrabo a yebo nimu sesi na we ka me ho abiom mi dia mejeso eye Richard Kujo efisi amrei ekofo me se nka na ona bebo de na nka eye face to face ana ye de brawo nanso enam eye town hall meeting a MPP aban na aban oti akonya so eba ba be ye nti no ewo Koforidua no eye no mienu pepepe ana mo sa meeting ni eba so eti ebo no mienu pa eba sore ni adan ho e de Koforidua na akohwe ensema ekoso ho concern eye E-Levy a aban epese Ganafo eti ho ase na odi omo agim na bibia eye fine ewo ho no be se E-Levy kro enya maye ensem bebre ana manfo achocho e de afa ho te se eye poster aban de beto abonten se oma be tan ho meeting no comment aba ho no enya comment keto e bekọ ne yakọ kan bi ne yehu se amanfo adwenkyere efasa E-Levy a aban epese ode ebeto eye oman no eso yenhwe wei o se friend Elizabeth Va o se E-Levy is free, drop it already. Yaw entry or say you guys have obviously lost touch with reality and your much awaited humiliating defeat in 2024 is still doing press up. Okay, you Jonathan Tete, mining companies have been paying $1.7 million a week to government as royalties all along, yet you want E-Levy for what? And Asimonusu a bisanon. Idrusu for say what is it about this E-Levy kra? Say E-Levy no kra no kra so kra one ebaze one hana. Gladys I say, do these people read the point here at all? Do you have town hall meetings in their various electoral areas? Do you sleep on pillow or stones? Do they also drink water when tasty like us? Do they also go to toilet and bath as as Baulai said? Or also any other count. Prince Junior Aite or say non-fat meeting, disgraced government. Abaya to send the name Eguas here. If for though the E-Levy amanihunu, it will over you. We will still oppose. To the killer E-Levy. For us to accept the E-Levy, do the following. And I also did in same way at was reduce the size of your government, reduce salaries of all Article 71 officers by 10%, cut down corruption. With the above, government will have enough resources to develop the country. I say I learned it was democracy until in Ghana. I learned it was democracy until in Ghana the lamenting masses of the mercy for a Democrat president are tagged as part of opposition helpless. NDCI or say confused government. Muhammad Nash I say I can be a village hall. It can be a village hall meeting. Who cares? Obia emfa ho ewo ho. Kwame na sapon was such a confused government. Charles Ampon was confused. #confused. John Bishop Achiman. You see, in 5 years you have borrowed 221 billion Ghana cedis. You don't do anything with it. What can the E-Levy criminal government Nanado? Oh, we didn't to be found to also. I thought MPs, including E-Ajasafu, have approved this E-Levy in Parliament already. But there be E-Levy no, you approve the whole budget you approve the E-Levy Avena. I think this government is confused. Why can't they listen to the people of Ghana rather than their people, their personal interest? I can't even think far. Reverend Alexander Ansa Efum and also the way Ebetu ja. Kwesi Paul or say confused government. Sapon or say Yanum any Yanumi them people and also can say the Yanumi. Okay, Francis Osai useless. Morris White on the Sirasa. Yankwenime Alaji Kamara or say corrupt government with their corrupt leaders. Then Lobster or say we no go pay. And also they are about to Kingsley Che can't wait to hear what will be said to justify the Bawumia tax. You see your friend Bawumia tax. Nana Amasan or say in 5 years you have borrowed 220 billion and one on the to 20 times. Hey, Bakashi Facebook you. Kofi Humble, when are you those old folks gonna hold a meeting on the lost billions to corruption? You guys see the okay, and the meeting fan to also you. Same Fuseni Kaswazongo or say great or say and they going to say a great David or say to anyway with the evil levy and you say E-Levy evil levy ana ewo baba aso edne bawa aso de dia ba on de ensembisa makoma kuno bisa ensembisa mienu and obi say number 1 number 1 na kwasa okay number 1 with the Venn diagram assembly training and explain with 25 reasons why we should support E-Levy. 2 with show formula define and explain why palm oil is red and relate among father page so brilliant science and math quiz say science and math quiz not science and math quiz among for that page so young quay useless meeting Holy Daniel and our no DJ Finance or say needless Lucky Star Plus or say concert Prosperted. If you like hold city hall meeting but still we won't pay ni tete otu or say we useless Hamanu or say no to E-Levy one of the 2 be 1,000 Cindy Nana Ama or say E-Levy fools you yate kwaku ajakon or say super etino message dey bebre na ho be ka se kan a enya de betimi akan ni nyina e dey akosi tire ba ka kra bobo so e dey amamo no ti say message no ba na eba amanfo engine tum say e wo say aban no sa 11 no kan ho sem no e wo say yitua mejo agye nkire ansakra na ya prepare ni akọ baby a Townhall meeting no ba say ohwa ya hye nkonya ne kama e wo ho a say enche na e meeting no e so cameras are ready video sound everything is set for this meeting a be ba so yi e wo Koforidua ti say panyifo ni abre say omo ba chechiremu atimi amagana fo ato ho ase nienti potenti a was say yitua sa E-Levy no etina de okode a agya ho kunya ya hyehye ne say nice esisi ho na enkunya ne besisi ho na commenters ase ehwegu wo ho yenhwe ensem amanfo eka fa de abotodwa sisi a go say de ministry no omode ayini beto wana gisa amanfo heya E-Levy is senseless shallow swallow your pride and bring back the road toll we do and I guess same way I see you guys are still on E-Levy issues Ghana pa there Bwedi kwesi pa this pa kwesi bedu please someone should count the number of people that will come or say obintu no say na won kan edoma ebeba dwumadie no ase yebehwe civil servant workers are already suffering from low wages and salary, especially our pensioners, and you want to add up to the suffering to Ghana. Mira Sandra, I say end the 8 when you break the 8, when you end the 8. Useless party, MPP, Al Hassan, and we have to judge. I pity this country in the hands of politicians, Mohammed Hassan, and Ekasa same way. Kwame Nasapong, or see, you run to the constituency, you see, you run to the constitution and public education after you try forcing it on Ghanaians. Such a confused government. I say, Abano, why you confused? Pa. Can't wait to listen to the wisdom and knowledge with evidence. We so Bashiru and also Edna Drinchre Eddie Ava. Obesia, first we didn't the Gusua, ye bokono. It's E-Levy, Abano some work town hall meeting. Town hall meeting, wo, Drinchre Efa home, and they saying, do suppose say, Abai E-Levy, a month for a council to watch a comment about this year. Saying that Uhu say Ebako. She did a munjin tomb, and I say a mumbontu baby, on one over the Galaway, then Nampi baby in your home. But make no say, dear, Yasham Kunya come beautiful about your Facebook page. I was a yes. I shall Kunya say, ready, say E-Levy, no poom poo. Ye back up with Hujuma, and my Sebaja to move and to move. Everybody so life, a war, a year Koforidua, Emra MPP. A buying ambasso or marsh and Kunya nicely and beautiful. I say, yet be pass a year E-Levy, yet become a home come. I'm a gun of what I said, Gentia, a sessefata say, you tear a year E-Levy. It is uncle Median and never costume. When him say, Finance Minister, a better say, you made in 1 hour bass here, a finance minister, say also now, Esla, Usokufu, so a teacher, then. So na information minister ko yo ponkroma anna honorable Alexandra Afeni Markins so tachira amuri jumadi no ebe brain all the way from Koforidua emra abo no mienu ansa na ebe kono isi e de meju adwentre se den na osusu se aban na nye E-Levy no wonmontungu anna se omonkoso anhye na emra. Number betima frɛ 00491516659466 00491516659466 na do adwenkyerɛ de aba dwumadie so na oso yafo adwenkyerɛ wɔ hɔ ne hu sɛ deɛ odwenfa E-Levy a MPP aban pɛsɛ odi mu nkyerɛmu ebrema Ghanafoɔ na yehu deɛ yɛbɛyɛ afa ho. Say dear, Domino did one now say, this E-Levy we no go agree. Yam peneso. Mammy San come message me, confessor, or say it will end in tears. Useless people. Townhall meeting. We so a year, Yarinchi Junior, and also Edna Jones Ediaba. Abdul, useless dudes. Organize a town hall meeting and tell Ghanaians how you spend the 220 billion you borrowed. Nonsense E-Levy, God will punish you. Anita Ajimai, and also Edna Albert Honum. Adam Harun, so Edna but this E-Levy issue is like offering someone something and the person says he doesn't like it. But still, you insist he should accept that thing by force. What kind of witchcraft is this? Or see they been busy SM Macron Kofi, you guys are simply lazy, arrogant, and myopic. You already suffering and you want to add up more. God will punish you all. With Asema on also Eddie Abanon. You near Baba also the message about I say what are they to discuss? Exactly. What are they to discuss exactly? Madam, E-Levy no, you be discuss bobo ho, ni ehu ni ebekoso ewo ho. Maame adwoa dwomo. O say enti loan bebrebe nyina nso MPP now you want to start taking from the ordinary people who are finding it difficult to live under your watch. Ow, Ghana. Where is every mami ajua jumo ana edine diaba. Ras Kotoka. You guys should talk about the 12.8 billion that went down to corruption. Is Obia edine dia eba. Abdul. Abdul, I say, and when they tell you the amount to be spent on this useless town hall meeting, it go shock you, it go over you, it go do you something. This is how also actual area bar. Carry a J, the determination only is biblical. Wasresa ana or the atwaso ewo. They will at this forum tell their global supporters that the NDC had planned imposing dictators on Ghanaians if they had won power, and that they will increase it when they come to power. The Minister of Miscommunication will even quote the NDC 2020 manifesto manifesto to back his claims. We so a messenger. Abdul Jaliu and also Eddie Abatuja. Yes, also meet me about 00491516659466 or message will be to me for a WhatsApp number 00491516659466. What Jenchim efa E-Levy and saying abino and also or town hall meeting about boom chirimu amagana fatia saying yentira. Opeso di E-Levy neba. Edien ene E-Levy. Edien na E-Levy eba babayen. Why ana etwe E-Levy ni bi. Edien ana ye charge E-Levy ni wo ho. Aban ne say odi nchechire mu ni nyina eba ama Ghana fo enye ho ntiase. Say anyway nti ana E-Levy no ye de eba ababeboa oman no. And say we be pra oman no. Two things. It can hurt or it can damage or help the country. Mohammed Adam was saying Avenue of Tifri is ready. I say abandon that. I say friend Pierrot 1. Go back to the mining company for taxes, please. You give mining company tax waiver and later tell we the voters to support E-Levy. Tofiakwa we no go pay. Or say another what has changed. And also a bizarre in some way say useless town hall meeting with Samuel Kingsley eho ana ede aba amasaman odike and also odikro and do we buy or say what has changed a dear pa na nanado assistant dache hima or say only your stronghold you can do this because I or say only your strongholds you can do this. Why don't you fools goes to do it at the voter region like you will be you will be regretted. The attempt does Mr. Fancy I mean to me enquiring but my main character God is in control and he will definitely listen to our cry by letting you guys get a accident. I didn't question in that account with the another thing. Hassan Malam Hassan I say MPP town hall meeting also as in bisa and also the actual at our tournum. Young queen or the other count and on. Also bet to know the about 00491516659466. May say and there a binary or your town hall meeting. No abun chirimu afa E-Levy time no no muni pepe e ba ko fa dwuma je life if Koforidua bro baby a owo bia it can share nso say E-Levy ne de aban wanya se be ba no for the way utwemu tan e go bring am enti enye ready na ye betie ensem a wo E-Levy mu say eye ne papa say enye ne papa emre ne nkrabia na be den na e be kire emra eye finance minister ene eye Asla Owusu eye we friends ko jo ponkroma ene Abrantia MPFN Afeni Markins Ezinkunya na omo ede ho ensem abatu jama Ghana fo nyina atibi dwumadi am se ekoso e wo Koforidua ho no dwumadi no ekoso nti kai na hyɛ nso saa efa mayen se ebo no miru be papa ye be kofa program no live e di afiri ho e di abremo na e say di amanfo adwe nkyira o mo di abre no ana still ye guzu a ye bobo so oso obetimi e di wodie aba na ya hwɛ ni ya kenkan e di amount na ma betimi ne fa so di aba no e ye 0049 15166594666 wutie Ghana Waves Radio saa so na o hwɛ live eso e wo Facebook a dwumadi no etwagu ho no oso betimi be kan ho na do adwe nkyerɛ e di ababebua dwumadie no mamenko na mensamfa few messages e wo ho na yemfa ento aso MPP Townhall meeting play okay mama can read that you see my count that means I'm repeating what my count means I'm repetition biom jama ma sa kan wasa da biom say no to E-Levy ate Sylvester upon was a good move Brownson Samuel I say may the gods ancestors strike you or people today assembly the abun abem E-Levy hu diabo Bernard Kwame I say E-Levy robbers insensitive government ever or also at the Abbott David was away with the E-Levy Francis Usai or say E-Levy will no go pay or say Abbott to say bagaya Felix Ejesafo why do you still want to force E-Levy on Ghanaians Asimbisa Anubisa conscious man or say yentuya Abdul Majid I say nonsense what are you trying to say we no go pay on also dear no Kim Abongo hey let's talk about the lecture strike students are suffering E-Levy is an opportunity for vampires to suck the little blood life blood left in us okay bunch of dishonest and jokers Kelvin and a D-way Abba don't call Emmanuel nobody is watching just say obia enhwe mu E-Levy nsana mo wetin ba kwatan aka no obia ma embetena se ne mo nhwe nti mo mehwe mo ade Ali Iban I say we won't pay we won't pay Nanado your E-Levy we won't pay justice I say you people tire you people tire Kwajo akalaka hey usudin dey wonderful power Kwajo akalaka I hope so di no okay we are waiting I say omo twen I mean the omo twen dey but say omo twen say die na ebesi o se di na ebesi o itene so ehun nsem a ono so e dey abatudwa no oso betimi do di aba 00491516594666 now so the message e dey afaho abasa ni nya ne se aban ne se enne E-Levy no obom nkyiremu ama Ghana fo nyina ate ase se ni nti ana E-Levy no ye ba betua sa E-Levy no eto ho asem na ye ka enti no yenhwe nye ba kosi ewo eho wasogusu a wuti eye Ghana Waves Radio midin e de Richard Kujo number so betima frɛ na wodo wadwenche de ba 00491516594666 00491516594666 we produce and patch up ye bulletin nyina mame ewo eye nsema finance minister be kan se de be ya menya ne ntem so na ye discussion na metimi abobo so amatifu aka the benefits the reason the motive behind this E-Levy no ye hene nyina ewo table so time program nya be be se de be hu eye die aban no epese or the children or say all is set for government town hall meeting on E-Levy in Koforidua in the Eastern region live on TV radio and on the ministry social media platform. Share your feedback and the feedback in the be share papa it can share some say a bo no munu pepe say it was just about 18 more minutes to go not yet the side jumadi no so Koforidua Town asem umpichiri ho na eba so Town say Ascension hall Koforidua ho na enne saa E-Levy E-Levy ho nkomotwetwe eba bekoso ewo ho amaye hu ye twe ho eba okay mahu se owi atwete ye omampanyi Akufo-Addo o say the E-Levy will improve the E-Levy will provide government with revenue to build more roads, provide more jobs and opportunities for the youth, and reduce our dependence on debt. Just any say, I see 11 bar, a people my buying ska, SEC adan, aya quine, up a numa, and say a human quines were by the ho, ama and mobunu and ye biayen. A mama are buying so, a between what we say, they be not all cobblesian bono. A bit to me, a idea bit to me, abuapa. You yati, say, Omudio Sobe Yono, and me asemno. Talk is cheap, but not on MTN. Oh, wow, MTN because I was on the body, papa, Ubutia, but talk for some time is cheap when it comes to politics. Jen share near Ebakusi, Ewo, Eho, or down when it had the court a year, Twitter, so the year, a month for some money go by so on this same E-Levy homes and semi a month for accounts MP, a den under information minister. Ede abatuja concerning a year E-Levy. Na nado krampuna. Ode mamenye na hwese de esitie obekase bia me na me bum tim na aka yenko na yenhwe de na nado etweteye ehu video de back no ne nyina ewo ho a etwagu ebetima akohwe omampanyin no ne nsimo a ode abatuja concerning a year E-Levy a ewo ho a ono se omode eba den intemptuously Amagana for a hundred ecoso. And the tweeting that one with me now what can be oh video fine. Yes, the E-Levy no video na echaguno na Koforidua say the E-Levy will provide government with revenue to build more roads, provide more jobs and opportunities for the youth and reduce our dependence on debt. And some of the government flagship initiative includes and also free SHS, planning for food and jobs, 1 district, 1 factory, 1 village, 1 dam, 1 constituency, 1 ambulance, NACOP, medical drone delivery, year of roads, agenda 111 hospitals, and etc. Added amount for young fanka home. 1 district, 1 million, 1 fanka home. And now 1 constituency, 1 million, maybe. Okay, so you know, that discussions, you know, then you know, about Indonesia, or my opinion, division to watch, I say, watch it, and not drink, you know, every, say, E-Levy for development, hashtag E-Levy for development. The video, you know, Chegu, Essie, Yanhe, the Ebeko PM, Emra, Moka, E-Levy Honsem, a year, Omampany, Nana Ado, na Abresi. Yeah, sure, we are in the we are. Minority is about Tenassi. I almost in Chimoba, and again had a normal, yes, a normal tiny himself. They are majority because we are. And I say, baby, BC we are. Yet, Dom Kuman Subaba Casadabi, Omdin Chichimuye, better for them better particulars on what account that they will be able to me as soon as the Amayan. Oh, when the Bashir is when you say, can't say, the Bashir Mupa said. Sa ensemi nyina no so no omode ebeba amye hunia eko ewo eho ba me catch you said say the enkunya ne de yahye kama beautifully ewo ho agese ye twen say ye bedan yani e Koforidua na yaje eye ensemtrofo ne wona obadwude nyina ase no ya mo nyina akwa abasoronko na ye de E-Levy nkomo no ahyehye so ewo ho metwa me ho sima me ba ye betua dwumadie ne so aha eye Ghana Ways Radio medin e de Richard.
Guess what? Ghana Waves Radio can now be live wherever you are. All you have to do is download the Ghana Waves app from App Store, Play Store, and Windows Markets for absolutely free. Share and tell a friend and tune in now.
For best in news, entertainment, and more, listen to Ghana Waves Radio.
So
www.ghanawaves.com and feel the Ghanaian radio. Log on to www.ghanawaves.com and feel the Ghanaian radio. Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
Tutu bubu say jiri tutu bubu say jiri keda bonya mitumfa senye sisa wejufa na mere sumawo kona kosisa keda bonya mitumfa senye benyara mesumawo na wobeko senjara mekawono na wobeka Bibiara mechewo na ubeye Kona kosisel Kona kotutu Bobo say jiri Tell papa si anemu Kona kotutu Bobo say jiri Nasi papa si anemu Kona kosisel
Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
Guess what? Ghana Waves Radio can now be live wherever you are. All you have to do is download the Ghana Waves app from App Store, Play Store, and Windows Market for absolutely free. Share and tell a friend and tune in now.
You share and tell a friend and tune in now. Some media about because so as you made in the so one is and the end chamber day any actually Mamenko I want to quickly Oboba about homes from Infano. A job Boba. Hello Boba.
Hello Brakujo.
And I say you.
Nyamiadum na no de antinka.
No nyateka issue akra ha see a chance meet me solve problem.
Okay. Over there.
Boko.
O ye danyamiase. Fie boko de. Nkora na ni bia.
Nyamadu bia ho ye.
De danyamiase. Ani yenkoye.
Yenko boba.
Yo. Brakujo etia o etia boko ya fine pifon boni. Na o ta admane adwobe bi ni chumasi atem right Thomas the best here Thomas what here chia na chia na one or Ghana no ye dwuma den yo Brakujo na o kon so given
aban ne say odinchiremu ba ebia na ye ntiase nti no mo ye Townhall meeting e wo Koforidua abebom nchiremu ma ye nyina ate de ntia omudi E-Levy ne ba butaya E-Levy eba beye enyema E-Levy ba ebe taxi nti mo se mo di mo nchi mo ebre Ghana for
what do E-Levy na anything and I'm not to be up to start to I see anything here and to school you E-Levy I see anything
and even say electronic levy say okani na bumu a okani nyina complete electronic levy je say kwan fa so this scam money fa mobile phone so no any other transaction bia with electronically bia no to say online transactions and money no and this E-Levy ne eba
eno ano no
sa e-business bia say auto ade online now the card tua oye say any money no eno and money in e-business no platform no it is our online business and any money nyina e ka sa platform no
na bra ko jompacho mbisa wotra brochi ha no na sa de na bra pin anasa ano omo yes ta de no na e home na atua wo e pa wo bi tre ha
unse eklubia ne tax oje ntimi mfa obi tax ko obi tax se ne dia ha you take
me bi ta to tra brochi ha o wu se ya na
oh there be send me hu ne sa eno nkire se omo so ntimi nye e bi emre bi e bobo omo so kwase bi e bebo omo so betima implement bi tax there maybe afiso bi tax bia no
na na do oye president or country
o Ghana
ena Ghana for na oye president o so opportunity sad we say yen do bet na na M1 adentina on tie Ghana for na mtu command bra ko jo bibisa wo
na do ba yanu ama yen ne nyina sa question se nyina on ba amanfo bi so mo because me say on ba ebu yenchiri mu die ntia wo hwe tua sa E-Levy no ma ebu yenchiri mu ntia on ba betena se no mo kasa wi ebe hu se fata se tua na se fata se ebe tua ebe hu
abra ku jo sa chere because adie dey for
hello
adiwe eya something hello eya something ene daho who is president of Republic of Ghana and Ghana for you do a people that and I would mrebia ba and opposition Ghana for the chair omuntimi onti wada ruma wuti homa yenso a eno ko bone bena aye ana aye mra tintin na de na munita what say mo friends politician for that mo friends
yes.
The Ghana politician will be among 4 billion.
Yes, Gracia.
I don't know the money you not the politician for a year 4 years. You are going to extra 4 billion. Since can break you one neighbor to ya. Ghana for ya neighbor to ya. Now, what did we be about? Not Ghana for next one pa. Different way. Jemu man nka mom also will bet me dia bia nyuma 64 years ni muntimi nye hu e wo Ghana e ta E-Levy se ne ba e na nya sika atina bibi taxes e hwe airport nko sika nko enyu sika nko enyu airport sika nko enyu egu habo sika nko Ghana phone pay to tax e so muntua E-Levy do wo kanu yiri wom npetua taxes na di usika tiawa anabra kujo meboa
obo ba we say e kwan ben na ba meto ayiro mo agise sani na
bra kujo wa wo tra bro kire say ti wo di see ya me ka insurance o tina se me ya me ko pan ni ko na me ko tia okay obi eni wa ye ni we na e na me da me nkuma ni mo ye me ka insurance see ya na e abra mi me kem see no 55 euros bra kujo okay obi eni wa be ka che o say bra na be tia car insurance obi eni wa be ka che o say be tia akwadan school akwadan no wasting aduane obi eni onya de check na ma wo be tia wana ke bo tia won tia taxes wo to test to bila wo to ha Slovakia 22%.
oboba
ya wo to tia ya wo ma tia
oba Ghana ha na say oye insurance na insurance na be expire o company you was to say insurance na ba expire na say na so betua no so Ghana no be yen hwe han atena wo sa on gotua na insurance na expire
enti na wan asedi enti so ka na hwe apia aban muaw
aban de on feel insurance ni feel kra
aha enti na no yakoka say MPP aban nye na nado aban nye enem ade bi bebre ho a brafido mudi mbra chukwu mo because ka enti no enye omani ne chiri o taxes nko abofre mi 20 euros per me baba akopɛ onamo akwara ba akopɛ ntia and botu dia bra ku ma menche o every 1 month dia I need 2,300 euros per 1 month okay bosumi ba wa ku tell me you 1,200 if you want ya kani na ka say about 50% no taxes I see one won so okam
eto nko a
won't be a guy who can't share na woni kan insurance ya na se wan ko tua bra kudo na muwa onye juma na untia insurance for hospital o yare a o hospital bra kudo prescription e ba so 100 euros a bra sa na abeto no ofie muwa o pa kona ko ona kokko da enfo aban bia ho emra kan ye ka tie do covid Australia no first we say tennis player number 1 your money call refugee pump was the pan and wrong I didn't prime minister of emra emra when me and when we ya send back to Australia okay no from ranya duma say all to muntia E-Levy no do taxes you taxes you win some yes
you don't so can I say aban babia or cut tax but omo ejopoti bia aban taxes ni na anything as a man for so muntia ni se bia ni tua na ka e dim mo na mum se ye tua na se ye hu faso dia e wo so a di enti na wo se ye tua eno ya man for so
bra enya no kware ko na na nyire e ka tio connect na ko kan o man ya wutim wa 20% in the tax o man ya wutim wa o muntia taxes mo even though and sorry organ afa no o mutia should be more than so mutia taxes ama government shame for Benin shame to us everyone what in it as wo kana o ka ni bi o de what tom money o tom enko o tom obi o tom den when won say botra won tua tax kai wo na kujo o mun tua tax ya bani what kan o de eduma no enu to mo bob sia bob no sana samiti na se wa ba yi o to say bra kujo protein ko adiji o ko yi o driver for 2 minute kan tenten protein for adiji ya mani coupon wa ko we no do nyae no we dey akoma ni pani di ko bank omo a wan party ka yi protein for adiji kan wa di o dey akoma we fa we sia we fa botu me no bra kujo be ya na ban ni yesika afa ni bibi come on ye ni mani pe left a Friday be ya ko bitia 200 million to 300 million ya ko ye ya ko di ya ko ni nam ya ko sa ni wanu no na mo ba bi o ye djuma ai se wo tua wo taxes no o tua o hu se auditors ni ba pe no e den no wo dwa no o free store ho na ba da tso manamre ni ye nyina bro tia se bra go obi eni wonam ha o tua tax yo uti u post ni bia but uba jama Europe bia no be timras no was for that so ye crypto ni now so nyame shame for us utimi nye sika ko wo salary ya unya no utemu du now they ba akoma and sorry now what duma wo ye no wona mo duma ma o sika e ni dia ehwe wo yire no what you won't tax what the E-Levy here be so ba so a mo se ye ntia because of position no pe kwen bia obeden obenya kwen room ono oba no e de no ye e tie pe no ye obetia ba na mo be man kai na nado danko Koforidua Ghana bo mo be kai na sria na mo kwesi mbo budget kai mo be kai na ku When I yes, not a school fees. Me, let's some telephone number. Let's some telephone number. When I want to be near, bro, which says the cat. Now, but tax Muntia, not to be E-Levy, a panic or being no the better. Or mine, must there be okay. I'll be the plastic or put the property and have the big man into. I'm waiting for when say, moving enough press promote through a chunko. Now, Obit was yen tomorrow because you're not TFE and Yakoso. Nonsense. Yet, after the 2 officials are with me. Who did you be in walk with TFE and I've been to Defima or Cordova? I'm walking and Quadamemua at what to done. A poor worry, every appetition, and no doka, and with the apple, and no people. Yet, when Yegma. Or you are the doctors open free. Come on, again, money. Let's see, I want to that could go. You want to us our butcher. You tax international sustain and also be one and a brand near the baby back. No one, okay. Now, and young man, I mean, you have a name battle. Or to a bandy be time to say, over trauma, will be time to say, what is my problem? But in there, no one of the so I end this in this way, people need me up to now. What could you? Yes,
what could you him?
And no back of food. What
could you win my catch and say, party winning?
Miana, I saw him some MP. I made a MP. That man out of living in Yamit, you papa. MPP. Ghana ye, Ghana, okay. Make a set here, extraction, make a set every day. Mr. started in free because Mumbo be positioning for Biara or Ghana for an MSR. I don't know who demonstration. Nothing. To cut fear when I'm with demonstration. I didn't hire. And I'm say to me, Ghana, back with be stars into Ghana. It be more yet for the German Europe countries. I in Ghana. Too much is a mitzvah.
And running carbon a bit. Too much in which yao. What they join out Ottoman Mate. Okay, too much. In Ghana, Ghana is my European country in Ghana. And running carbon a bit. Young BCA. You are I mean, for instance, in Chennai, then I could food and I could see in some a year in Penifono, about catcher and say, but yet to Museum to move the Omba catcher and then the Bidia dance here. Cannot put yes here. Now, or mine, Sabita Pratt, or anyone, or who I do someone, as I said, what to say, woman. Teach a woman take. Nature is going to be a draw refugee. I will every Piana now, so the whole world. Ghana, who be a draw, and to tell room, not yet more room, not young taxi, not you live in a back, not a bit no bit and pass there, or when you sit and you give the woman amateur for and you be a what is the problem? Let's say opposition or about 2 just have to live there. More Ghana. But Bobo, Bobo, that could only mean you. It has to be Oboba and a tenant can order from Czechoslovakia and also Nigeria ban. E-Levy Hunkomo and Neddy the BCBC. The Abina saw come Ghana 14 ano or Becca Amiato or YouTube pages were joining a Togu Honum means I can't message you. I don't know, say for idea. My main here, I mean, who see this here? A voice note, I can home. But I just want to open it and see. Say, a bit my say, okay, my man can come on from the mad dear. I say, when Mother Ghana, your children want every good thing, but don't want to pay anything. I am for the implementation of the application of the E-Levy for better Ghana. We a odophobia or the dear Eddie Abba, you didn't pay an amenia. And Pachana do the account at the mammy. Yamin Shaw, no message. I mean, here. She bit me a voice note now. The buyer now. then the mame mo me nyeso so be kan sim bia e de be e bia but mame mo na yintie. When kasa no from timi sheda ntide o kan ne kasa ne so anhye ANC timi so say obesa se ne biom de ba.
For NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Avalera.
Okay, we the advert no ye. Message ne e kan computers one sem. Enti no enche be de ne Koforidua ne kofa eye ensem a e koso e wo ho na ye de ho ehunem e de abro. But ye kasa de je se amanfo ana e chechomo adwen e wo radio so sa enti de beko nti akwa kutiti voices ne bi ewo ho na the pick feed na the voices no ekoso Koforidua de abro wi a na the live video no so de ato so ewo ho e de amount kana channel so say ye ko akofa e feed no sisi a on this E-Levy Townhall meeting a aban no e ba yi
blue black yellow me hu bia o me hu tum jom bia mengate beja on na doma fe pufi soro e ba ye new site no in fact na ni yade wo show bia zo bi say Abranti ana kete se de ba sem ne se na me se we pre na moja e so ni nti onya de tin bisa kan cho se we ni na si nti onu duru wa e kon man ba bi tira me se inside no akwatena ho so lezi no so akoye ni pa bia according to me amene mo kasa e kon ne de krom ha de obia ni mo bo e kon afukara kete ya wo no bo ba che do ho bogwa so na so lezi na ye ni pa bia one day pe na me fan dropping free bogwa so ba ye ba no no ye door to door campaign se chale me no mani onu na de no mani mami o se mi help e wo car bia na se bibia baba family akokuroma mami nja me ho no mana mami ndu be share ni be bia no as or supply onu ane number no for help so and the cars na bu plug ebu nti onu no ye door to door service nti wona ade ne siwi na me wife buy na me jagora na ma no na eja me ba kuroma ba ye investigation ne course ti bi duru wa na me team no fufu mienu o mawu se Suarez any Kofi small boy na me say yewade ewiase abo me na fufu mienu a omo de me pay finish ro me share me bia ye ina free to free me niska kura me taxi driver me plug driver ba fa me
Asempa FM could see saying on Asempa FM 94.7.
Okay, you better try say you benya feed you wrong feed na you pick it no. You be more than say benya the actual feed in your feed na. You be link up ewo Koforidua na ye de enseme etwegu nyina no e de abre ye tifo bi omo bia. Aha e Ghana we so de metwe husima ye ba ye betua dwumadie no eso.
Radio can now be live wherever you are. All you have to do is download the Ghana Waves app from App Store, Play Store, and Windows Markets for absolutely free. Share and tell a friend and tune in now.
Log on to www.ghanawaves.com and feel the Ghanaian radio. Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad. Log on to www.ghanawaves.com and feel the Ghanaian radio.
But my young Korean can messages now. Abanibina, nya feed na nya akofa e ho na ere dwumadi na ato aso e de ma na messages de be na abafa e Townhall meeting a aban ese obaba be ye concern e E-Levy yenko na yemfa we I say God will punish you. Or kwame na sapon e de ba okay mamenka e Peter Serbo e de no say the majority should just go ahead and pass this e-bill, and we are tired with this nonsense. Hey, I say, please can they go down and read the comment before starting? Okay, you yate. Some Mombakin can comment and much program as why na comment na from everybody there and come back home you you guys are still okay. We should share some message with that. Or the buy actually I can kind of the free home. Also with me the about 00491546594666. With the message by Virginia kind na when the so if E-Levy when some etwegu ewo oman Ghana emu dodo na ana empene say I was E-Levy no e baso ewo is a ban E-Levy. Omatunidin hashtag let's talk about E-Levy. Hashtag let's talk about E-Levy. Intini we have been training. Ewo hopa papa enya sempetua. I say, and when they would I say bofuna mo to body bi I say mo E-Levy is senseless, shallow. Swallow your pride and bring back the road to. I said, do as Mr. Juma kind that was a repetition and call. A month for a repetition of messages. So I say, also between the day forward about 00491516594666 messages in the banner, but it was a dim to me. Nick, I had him, papa. Oh, what say, you see, Missy, which made messages in come on. I can't, oh, I'm him. I'm maybe I can't. Yeah. I'm sure we okay. I say okay. I say Bogos Townhall meeting. We Elijah A. Armstrong. I say Townhall meeting number beno. And for so be any so Bogos. Ghana needs to move forward. Implement it. Kofi Owusu and also Dina Jane Ediaba. Betty, beautiful queen. Amma. I say E-Levy, we no go pay. Francis Osanyaso E-Levy, we no go pay. The determination, I say this is the determination only in okay. Also, I join also Edia Barano. I say James Achu, the raw definition of politician, and I say it's a via being imposed by force. Oh yes, so Prince Osei Prince Kofi Kwashi. One thing for sure. 99.9 MPP supporters will be called to ask questions. Say, Nipo Mako, Omo show no be 99% be MPP for never. Ama ye be se won ensem. E be say ensem e wo dwumadi na nsem. We so dey ato so or say you are disgracing the Ghana flag. Townhall meeting Yankee Yenchi Junior as usual about to jar. Nonsense E-Levy, God will punish you. Anita at Japan, so at the way at the Abba. It's a message in the banner about so between the Abba 00491516659466. Now, what we're doing about the Bible, Nayakin can E-Levy no engine, na abino, almost only about your home. Dear crying E-Levy, E-Levy, I can't cry. A dear any E-Levy. Ah, your boss, if it pay. Yeah. Yamadum said, Abane say, Omude in Chimu, Eba, Ama Ubia, Atian, Hon, and Tiasia. Oh, my no mean, but no, you know, crab, but still, Omusi, when I'm going to Nazimpo. Ah, Omude in some air brain, ever honor. Tino, Sa prepared here, timeless one, ever call, now for E-Levy, a home incense, some ever a honor, not yet the end of the bro. Was so with ye a Ghana Waves Radio. Oko Omampany ne Twitter account Twitter handle no abachire gu ho de E-Levy ne ba e be ya mayen ntu so abachima ko na Koforidua ne Twitter page was E-Levy no e ho nsem e wo ho a che se ono so e de abatuja nti obetimi akọ na wakohwe e de asem a Omampany no den e kan yenko. I just want to just read exactly what Omampany edituja concerning E-Levy or no face banner a Nana Ado down quite a kufu Ado Anna a kutria in same way to a year or no the Twitter handle so and on my hashtag let's talk E-Levy hashtag Ghana needs the E-Levy for development 6 hours ago and Omampany added to her. The E-Levy will provide government with revenue to develop to build more roads, provide more jobs and opportunities for the youth, and reduce our dependence on debt. E-Levy is a dituma one. A bit of buying any sika, I did a year quamibri. A bit of buying any ska, a division you will see a bit made a quenya, a bamba and mabruno, and your jumaye. A bit to me a tear how I be and sorry, near saw in your money a quabonting, a cobobishia, no so, and also idea a bit to me. None of you say, what has the government done with our taxes so far? And our mobile we say, Emra anima buying this has made a free SHS, planting for food and jobs. 1 district, 1 factory, 1 village, 1 dam, 1 constituency, 1 ambulance. NABCO medical drone delivery, year of rose, and agenda 111, and etc. Omo kanoman kan a year 1 district, 1 factory account. I'm glad someone can come. Sa pepe. It's no sanity. Nanado, I say, Scariba, a babwa, I met my numa, I may eat me a yakwain, said baby to my boy, Ghana for, and Mabuno, or Mania Juma aye. And what you know, son, a bar, a buying say a sorry, rock of funny cleansing, and I call a bunch of baby somebody, a so better crack. Meanwhile, on Bapa 2016, almost see was a guy and a Bobby Sama bunch, no say Bobby. Why should we borrow? It's a lazy man's approach. On my harbor fooling now, I might TV. Intended assassin. Mokasa Simoseki. CG E-Levy media. Okay, maybe this is the time they want to finish with the lazy man approach. You know, they are going to Maya. You say, Mobisia, Ibium, with E-Levy anybody are Mobisimbium. Sana Bium Somoka, Emma Yeti, Ewo Ho. I bought no minute Pamusima at June. Was to go to a wood Ghana Waves Radio. And check. Amudi Jimmy Bessia, so much super. You are going to life. Yadi a bro, I will be a also Oshie, and I say, would see a year Ghana Waves, Casafidi. So, number bit me as well from Rajan Chudaba 0049 151 665 94666. When number I did Juma, I will feed you also with my friend. Now, do I join you at the Abba? Ye train live feeding on, and not at the Jumidina at the Abro. But who say, O Masha say, or why you say in Chibiano. If you ever call Yakov feed no, I may say a demby paper. Na Yemfa Emro. Okay, very soon you better join the feeding now. The live coverage, you know, at the Abro, Ewo Honoma. You bet the finance minister and then the dom. I bet I say about catch the Ghana form concerning this E-Levy about Abeto J.
Or qualify say you better.
Log on to www.GhanaWaves.com and feel the Ghanaian radio. best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad. Ghana Waves, the best internet radio, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
We're live on a number of television stations that I'll be acknowledging shortly. May I please ask you to rise wherever you are so that we take an opening prayer and get this afternoon's engagement underway. Bishop Samuel Yawedu will give us the opening prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you. We bless your holy name for what you are doing in our nation. We thank you for what you are about to do. As we're going to discuss about E-Levy, we pray that we're going to get good results. A resource that will be beneficial to all the nation. Anoint your people that will give them wisdom to speak. Bless everybody here and let it affect even their nation. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Later when we are done, the Reverend Dr. Kofi Amfo Akono, Koforidua District Minister, Presbyterian Church of Ghana, will say a closing prayer for us. And you know, and there we share our Ascension Hall, Koforidua Waha. Assembly tia. Ghana nyinara eni ewa ha ene ewie. And common ne say E-Levy aban hyehyɛ sɛ ye nyinaa ye befiase na yetua ne nkakra ahwede aye ye ho adwuma wo mamu ha no. Ɛho adwentoato a enti na yɛhyia ewa ha yi. Ene ewie mpanimfo akukudam aba bɛka yɛn sa a ɔmbɛboa yɛ man ate E-Levy nkɔmmɔ no ase. Na yeso ya dwenkyerɛ ne yasɛm bisa yɛ pɛsɛ yɛde to ɔmanim no yɛde ato ɔmanim ɛnkyɛ bia mɛto mebo akyerɛkyerɛ mu radio ne TV ahodo Ghana nyinara ɔmani edi akyi a wɔn ɛma Ghanafoɔ ɛhu yɛn Ghanafoɔ ate asɛm mɛsan so akyerɛ mpanimfoɔ a wɔha nyinaa na ansa na yɛbɛdi nkɔmmɔ no mepɛ sɛ mefrɛ the Honorable Regional Minister the Honorable Seth Champon ma ɔma yɛn nyinaa kwa mama yɛmfa nsɛmbɔ kɛseɛ ɛnhyia no Honorable Regional Minister to give us the welcome address.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Eminent clergy, the Honorable Minister responsible for finance, the Honorable Ken Koforidua, the Honorable Minister for Communications and Digitalization, the Honorable Esla Owusu Ekufo, and Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West. the Honorable Minister for Information, the Honorable Kojo Opoin Nkrumah, and Member of Parliament for Ofuase Ayerebi, the Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, and Member of Parliament for Efutu, the Honorable Deputy Minister responsible for Communications, the Honorable Ama Poma, and Member of Parliament for Jabin constituency, the Honorable Member of Parliament for New Jabin South and Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Honorable Michael Otribefi, the Honorable Nana Kwesi Ejei Boating, Member of Parliament for New Jabin North, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Achimswedro, the Honorable Ken Osei-Nyako, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Oda, the Honorable Alexander Akwesi Akwa. There are too many MPs here, I'm getting loose. I want to welcome our members of academia who are here with us. I welcome our distinguished professionals who have all been extended a hand of invitation for this important meeting for on behalf of government, as has been eloquently described by my good brother, the Minister of Information. My business is just to ensure that this meeting happening in the regional capital of the Eastern region, the pride of Ghana, happens without any shred of accident, and it ends peacefully, and we take this beautiful policy of government progressively. On behalf of the chiefs and people of the Eastern region, I humbly welcome each and every person within this hall to this beautiful meeting. Enuanom asofonom ene akyerɛkyerɛfoɔ ne amanyɔ mpanyinfoɔ a wo a mebɔ odin a wo ama ma odin fa kyɛ me. Deɛ wɔ mu ne sɛ ɛnnɛ dwumadie ɛyɛ dwumadie a yɛde boa aban ani so ade hunu ne aban hyehyɛeɛ. Me nua onimonyamfoɔ Kojo Opoin Nkrumah ɛdi kan ato din ama yɛn nyinaa yɛhunu. Asɛdeɛ ne sɛ megyina apue mantem ahempɔn ɛne ɔnemanfoɔ anamu na mama yɛn nyinaa akɔ aba ɛwɔ ekuropɔn Koforidua mu. Dwumadie no ahyɛseɛ nie mema yɛn nyinaa akɔ aba. Nyame nhyira yɛn na ɔma dwumadie no nkɔ awieyɛ pɛpɛɛpɛ ma yɛn.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Regional Minister, the Honorable Seth Echampong. Penifo a ɛhyia wɔ say mame brɛ kakra na menyi mpanimfoɔ kakra bi a ɛwɔ ha adi ɛnkyerɛ mu nyinaa na yɛmfi yɛn nkɔmmɔ no. Ɛdi nkan ɛyɛ the Deputy Majority Leader na ɔba Parliament a dɔm kɛse a ɛwɔ Parliament ɔpani a ɔdi anim na bɛde akyire the Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin mmɛmfa nsɛmbɔ kɛseɛ ɛnhyia no. Oka mpanimfoɔ mmiɛnsa a ɛne yɛn bɛkasa ɛnnɛ awie yi ho. Ɔno aso na ɔyɛ Member of Parliament for Efutu. Yɛwɔ ha yi the Honorable Minister for Communications, the Honorable Esla Owusu Ekofo, mmɛmfa nsɛmbɔ kɛseɛ nhyia no. The Minister responsible for Finance, the Honorable Ken Oforiata, mmɛmfa nsɛmbɔ kɛseɛ nhyia no ɛwɔ ase yi. Member of Parliament for Achimswedro, Honorable Ken Osei-Nyako ɛwɔ ase yi, mmɛmfa nsɛmbɔ kɛseɛ nhyia no. The Honorable Kwesi Ejei Boating, MP, New Jabin North, Yemfa Nsem Kesi, Nsembo Kesi Nshiano. The Honorable Michael Otribefi, Member of Parliament, New Jabin South, Yemfa Nsembo Kesi Nshiano. The Member of Parliament for Jabin, the Honorable Ama Poma, Yemfa Nsembo Kesi Nshiano. Member of Parliament Akim Odan, the Honorable Akwesi Akwa, Mumian Fansen Bokesi Inshiano. Member of Parliament Achiaso, the Honorable Kofi Mafo, Yemfansen Bokesi Inshiano. Kofi Wayne, Kofi was a chairman. The Honorable Kofi Ochre Ejekum, your friend Arafat, Honorable Member for Fantiakwa South, Yemfansen Bokesi Inshiano. A number of MMDCs, the Honorable Kwabena Penning, Nkansa, Etiwa East, Honorable Mayehu, Na Yamonse Mount, Honorable Simon Kweku Tete, Lower Manya Krobo, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. Honorable Akosia Sabia Ano, Ebuakwa South, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. The Honorable Seth Brickrine Denchembo, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. The Honorable Joe Sam, Upper Menya Krobo, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. Honorable Margaret Darko, Suhum Municipal, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. Honorable Richmond Amponsa, Achiase District, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. Honorable Victoria Edu Brim Central, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. Honorable Isaac Apel Jesse, New Job South, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. Now, if you have some Yemfa in Semboke Sienchiano, Honorable Paul Asamoah of Fonsia Yobi and Achimansa District, Yemfan Semboke Sienchiano. We could football Kakrebi na Mebono. Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of questions about government's proposed electronic levy. I will have an opportunity to invite shortly some of our speakers to have an opportunity to speak to these questions and provide answers. With us this afternoon, as well as the Minister for Roads, the Honorable Amwakwata. Let's acknowledge him with a round of applause. The Honorable Deputy Minister for Information, the Honorable Fatima Abubakar. Let's acknowledge her with a big round of applause as well. I'll introduce more of the dignitaries who are here with us. I am informed that members of the clergy, Asofo, Ewa Hase, Asofo Pamcho, Muntumunsa, Emma, Yehu Baby, Amo, Edamwase. Traditional council representatives are here. Market women representatives are here. Transport union reps who are here. Give us a big wave wherever you are. Transport union. Momo agents are here. National service persons are here. Members of NAT, TEU, TUTAG, hoteliers, beauticians, dressmakers, CTAG, NAGRAT, health workers, students, and other members of the cross-section of the Ghanaian society are here with us today. Kosa bebre na nipa bebre bisa fa E-Levy no ho. E-Levy na eda de. Eden na be ya man. Eto a yetu ya Ghana no so eso adwuma yesra aban se aban enyema ya na. No krese E-Levy no se aban eje a momo adwuma nyina begu. Wanoma epese e transfer sika ewo platforms ahodo so nyina begjae ana amanone a epese yekọ bisi South Africa bisi English abrochi bisi America eho na to ahina omutua empen bi krampa besen kwa na ese se aban the talk time tax bar obi a begjae kasa ewo ne telephone so sa asem no na bakosem sen nete na wie ye hia wa he ye nkomo ne ebedi no afanu brofo kakra na yede aba akan kasa so kakra awie radio ni TV ahodo bebre hwe yen etie yen enche bia mebobodin na enche bia mefre minister responsible for communication and digitalization no abefi yen komodie no ase obema yehu abefo ntentan adwumadie no kwan o mofa so edidi dwa no emu abakosem sen nete emre bia besen kwa ye ka se be talk time tax a ampanyampa ebi mu sorry tia say talk time tax ye de ba obi ankasa o telephone so biom telephone so komoni ade nyina begu ye nye sika bi amfiri mu sa amfidi dwuma ne ade nyina begu no na bakosem etesen enne aman ahodo ahena momo ana transaction levies we wo mu AGB sika sen na de bre o maban edem puntu dwuma na o maban ede ye enema we ebi ena ni odikan on e be kasa minister for digitization and communication edibetu and it is more ekradwa Bomayan fans and Bonshia, the Honorable Esla Owusu Ekofo. Ninkomano, Obedi no Brofo Kakra, any Akanyakasa Kakra. Honorable Minister.
Honorable Minister for Finance, the Honorable Minister for Information, the Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament, the Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways, our host, the Honorable Regional Minister, MPs of the region here present, MMDCs of the region here present, the clergy who've graciously granted us the use of this hall for this program, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a good afternoon. I'll start in English and then try to translate it into Twi as I await the questions that will come from the floor. Over the past 18 months, it's become clear that if the African continent is to be globally competitive, it must embrace the common vision of creating an integrated and inclusive digital society that improves the quality of life of citizens, strengthens the development of the private sector, and advances Africa's quest to attain the Sustainable Development Goals. COVID-19, like every cloud, has a silver lining. And it accelerated the digitalization of Africa and helped us to see how pivotal digital platforms, applications, and services are. According to the UN Economic Commission for Africa, 61% of a sample of firms surveyed on the continent reported an increase in online sales since the start of the pandemic, while more than 60% of micro, small, and medium enterprises identified online selling as a top new opportunity in response to the crisis. As we were locked down, trading moved from shops to online and digital platforms. Globally, the digital economy is projected to grow from $11.5 trillion in 2016 to over $23 trillion by 2025. We cannot be spectators and observe events. We have to be part of the networked world of today. And as a government, we are focusing on improving access, reducing costs, and improving the speed of internet access, while also leveraging on digital platforms to augment fiscal policy and better shape the delivery of public services. We need to understand the nature of transactions being undertaken on digital platforms. And I'll try and give a small snapshot of this. A survey was recently conducted on transactions undertaken on digital platforms. And some of the results confirm that in Ghana, digital platforms have become the main tool in recent times for payment for goods and services, as well as for transfers and remittances locally and in some cases abroad. The survey also showed that digital transactions have surpassed cash and checks as the preferred medium for transacting business. Data from the Bank of Ghana and other sources have also confirmed the growing trend in e-commerce and other online sales and activities. Between February 2020 and February 2021 alone, Ghana witnessed an increase of over 120% in the value of digital transactions compared to 44% for the same period between February 2019 and February 2020. Online selling offers convenience. It's easy to transact, it's secure, it is visible, And the surge, we believe, was primarily due to the increase in the use of digital platforms caused by COVID-19 at the beginning of 2020. We've all realized that without digital infrastructure, it's almost impossible to live in today's world. Try leaving your phone behind. You can function properly during the day. It's no longer a luxury. It's become an indispensable tool for transacting any kind of business. And it's not just for entertainment. For transacting any kind of business. And it's not just for entertainment, but it is a working tool. It is your bank in your pocket. It is your office in your pocket. It is your... In 2020, the total value of transactions was estimated to be over 500 billion, compared to 257 billion in 2019, and only 78 billion in 2016, just 5 years ago. Today, as we speak, and we have the data for mobile money transactions from 1st to 24th January, 333 million plus mobile money transactions have been conducted just this year alone, from 1st to 24th January. Worth and the value of over 75 billion cedis has been transacted just for this period, and the month has not even ended. I don't have the comparable figures for the banks, but I dare say bank transactions will be just about a third of what we're witnessing on mobile money platforms. The Finance Ministry tells us, and he's here, he'll give us more detail on that our tax to GDP ratio stands at 12.2%, which is one of the lowest in sub-Saharan Africa. The average for the region is 16.5%. In practical terms, 8% of the population are paying for the developmental needs of the entire country and carrying the tax burden of 30.8 million people. That's not sustainable. And I dare say it is unfair to mainly public sector workers and those who are registered with the GRA as taxpayers, while the rest of us, both in the formal and informal sector, find ingenious ways of evading our civic responsibility to pay taxes. We're talking about a Ghana beyond aid. We need to be able to finance our own development and stop the dependence on either loans or grants or aid from other countries if we are to be truly independent. In 2008, the government of President Koforidua introduced the communication service tax in August of that year, and it became another source of income for national development. That tax was introduced at the rate of 6%, which was later increased to 9%. E-Levy is being introduced at the lowest rate for any tax in Ghana, comparatively at 1.75%, less than 2%. In other countries, digital taxes are being introduced at the rate of up to 10%, and they are paying. That's the UK, and we go there and seek loans from them to finance our development, when we are not paying the requisite taxes that we should. In 2020, the Communication Service Tax Amendment Act was passed to reduce the rate from 9% to 5% from the 15th of September 2020. When the CST was introduced, it faced similar opposition, as we are seeing currently. And the current speaker dubbed it as talk tax. As the NDC and the industry, led by the GSMA data, claimed it would damage the growth of the telecommunications industry as consumers would change their mobile communication habits. This does not happen. They were unfounded fears. Incidentally, at the time, I was the spokesperson for the mobile telecommunications network operators. And I remember vehemently opposing the communication service tax based on data from the GSMA, which is an industry association, the GSM Association internationally. They had produced data to the effect that introduction of any such tax would kill the industry, stifle its growth. And so based on that analysis, we all went out and opposed the introduction of that tax. Several years on, we realized that those dangers were unfounded. It never happened. The industry has grown exponentially since 2008, and all of us find telecommunications and digital infrastructure applications and services as indispensable to everything that we seek to do. The same speculations and complaints are being made about the E-Levy, that consumers will stop using electronic transactions because of the imposition of this levy. I dare say that based on our experience with the communication service tax and lessons from other African countries, we're confident that the E-Levy will not bring about any negative changes in consumer behavior, as electronic transactions afford us the convenience, the safety, the security that we currently enjoy. Despite the NDC's opposition to the communication service tax, they never repealed it when they were in power. They didn't even reduce the rate of the levy. They also complained about and rejected the National Health Insurance Scheme when it was introduced in Parliament and actually walked out. They complained about the capitation grant and sought to rubbish it. They had issues with free SHS and even asked for a boycott of the national ID and ridiculed our oil discovery as well, claiming that it was adringo and not crude oil. They always oppose every initiative that will ultimately benefit the Ghanaian people. But our collective experience shows, and they themselves admit, that despite their initial opposition to many of these interventions, they've proven to be worth their weight in gold. I dare say, and I appeal to them, to cooperate with government and work with us to pass this levy as well, because ultimately, the results that we got from the communication service tax, which clearly did not destroy the industry, will also be evident post-implementation of this levy, as we are all working collectively to enhance access to and use of digital platforms, working with the Ministry of Finance to ensure that digital financial services becomes the norm rather than the exception, as we strive to create a cash-light society and reduce our reliance on cash for our transactions. This year, working with the ministry and the developers of the Ghana.gov platform, we intend to move applications and payment for all government goods and services onto the Ghana.gov platform. If any of you has applied for a passport recently, you would vouch for the fact that it's made it easy, simple, corruption-free, harassment-free. The Goro boys are screaming because they're being deprived of their livelihood, because now you don't need to know anybody to acquire a passport. Just go onto the Ghana.gov platform, submit your application, pay for it, and you'll be sent notification of when to come and collect your passport. And when you go, your passport is ready for collection. You don't have to pay a bribe to anyone. We're going to do the same for all government goods and services using that platform to ease government to citizen interactions and make it easier for us to conduct business in this country. It is not a story I'm telling you. It is a fact which is happening. If you apply to register a company now, you would see that, and I used this example yesterday, the minute you register your company, notification is sent to your district assembly where that business is located. They also send you notification instantly about the amount of business operating license that you have to pay. You pay for it electronically. You get a receipt electronically. You're ready and you're set to commence business without having to pay bribe, join any queue, or suffer any harassment. That's the kind of digital infrastructure that we're putting in place, which will facilitate the use of digital forms of payment and will not collapse the industry. So I can say confidently to the Momo operators that we're working to grow your business and not to destroy it. A GSMA report also showed that when the levy, a similar levy was passed in Uganda, transaction values reduced slightly upon the introduction of this levy, but they picked up almost immediately, and after 4 months we're back at the levels before the introduction of the tax, and currently have far outstripped those levels. I'm confident that it won't take even 4 months for the industry in Ghana here to absorb this levy and grow even more, as was the case with the communication service tax. We're unique, we're blessed, we're a nation after the heart, God's own heart. And so we've learned lessons from the experiences of other countries that have introduced digital taxes in this continent. And that is why the Minister for Finance has put a cap, a safety cap, whereby transactions up to 100 cedis are exempted from the levy to ensure that those who send these sums are not severely impacted. And 40% of all Momo transactions fall in this category. So almost half of all the transactions are exempted. Just a few statistics about how much we spent on e-commerce in by January 2021. We spent 234 million on travel, mobility and accommodation. This was even down by 34% due to COVID restrictions on travel. We spent over 144 million on fashion and beauty on electronic platforms. This is in Ghana here. All these transactions happened electronically and went largely untaxed. Business has moved from physical locations online, outside the reach of the GRA, and depriving government of much needed revenue. We need to reverse that, and the E-Levy will do that. It will enable government to build a proper digital infrastructure and create a digital marketplace which will connect buyers and sellers and help people access value-added services such as e-health, e-agric, e-education, etc. It will provide funding for cybersecurity to protect us from cyber fraudsters and criminals as we engage more on digital platforms. We all want connectivity, and a robust digital infrastructure will drive down the cost of using telecommunication services and improve access to digital services. We're rolling out the Rural Telephony Project. It will also give all of us a chance to contribute to our own development and our economy, our economic and infrastructural development. It will reduce corruption, theft, and other forms of embezzlement because it is inherently traceable and people can't hide and commit fraud or crimes behind it. If you use a credit or a debit card, you pay between 2 to 4% transaction fees. And so the levy is on the lower end of total cost. All bank transfers also attract bank charges. So it is not true that this is going to affect or be double taxation or tax our capital as well. But I leave that for the finance minister to talk more about. The roads minister is here. We'll get funding for road construction and maintenance and more reliable payments for existing contracts to reduce the overall burden on government. Such infrastructural development will also create more jobs for the youth and cut down on youth unemployment, as Youth Start initiative would also do. More financial inclusion and digital empowerment for the less privileged in our society would also ensue. The 17 sustainable development goals are there for government to achieve, including reducing inequality, gender equality, education, clean water, and sanitation. We need to find a way of increasing domestic revenue mobilization, which is key to achieving these goals. If the funds are not generated internally, we would either have to go and beg for aid, borrow. We can't steal. So we would either have to beg or borrow. And we cannot continue to borrow to finance or beg to finance our development. Government is seeking to meet its agenda of a Ghana beyond aid. And this requires all of us to support the E-Levy and contribute our quota to national development. The world is changing, and we must depend more on our own internally generated funds for our development. He who pays the piper calls the tune. So long as we are dependent on donors, they will dictate the pace of our development. And so we need to rely less on donors to be truly independent. Our destiny really lies in our own hands. Semwa nyamikaye ne tofabo muane se aban eye nhyehyey a ebema yen de abefo mfidie ene ntahudie yahyemu ekna ne nyina eye sikasam na se yampe yankasa yenya sika ewo yankasa yenho entua for yempuntuo na ye nyina ye hwehwe na jesi yekobobosia ana yekosre na ukosra de a oni na ukosre wono ho no ono na ekire wo se da ha yesei nti na yemfa ahodie a yenya as oman no a ankrankre amanone fo na wo se omo efso yasene na ye yempuntu nyuma no na ene na yemfa ahodie no na yedi ne sen efise yensa ehye wanum emri bi atwam yekọ IMF omo ka kire yense mayemma mabu yemfa mabu adwumamu ewo aban adwumakuom. There was a freeze on employment enti na yemma etifia yenya adwuma enye efise omo ma yensika no ena ehye yenkete se mayemfa yemma ewo adwumamu yensusu de enim se yendaache impuntu agina entity a yede bema yemma no ene enti e wose yemma won entity a bema omotumi aye abefo nkitahudie no omosusu de won ho ebeji mu bi ni nyina eyiska wo hwe yensika semse ni ensitie na se yankasa yansomu kakra we aso ha we asora ni entwa ne kakra yempuntuo no ebeka akire emri bia yede top tax eba no eye afi 2008 no yeti hoye sane yeti ni sesie se yede top tax ne ba ebem ye nyina ye jai kasa ewo telephone so ebegu adwuma no internet adwuma no enkoso ebio ewrade adom mampanin kufu aban etumi edebaa time a yede ba no na me ye adwuma ewo me ne kasamafo ema network telecoms service operators no enti ye ne aban esi ye ni bia e kan bia se je de ba no ebe ha adwuma no na nimdia kakra omo de ama ye free GSM association na kire se ebe ha adwuma no nanso abakosem ye nyina ye living witnesses ye di mu adanse ye se ye de talk tax ba ye no adwuma yi enwu etumpon menne obia adwumadie bia wo ye bia no wonni internet access, we need data, we need phone na udwumadie na wo ye no ne ye no eye den ema ye nyina kakra enti ne ye ti se ebegu adwuma no enye saa na esiye me wa rehemu se saa akuo ya ne mpanimfo bi nsoso asori kasetia E-Levy send ye see with talk tax to me wa rehemu se ye de E-Levy nsoso ba enwu adwuma bia emom aban kra enne ye nhyehyeye a ebe ma amanfo dodo na eyusu abefo kwan so edi nktaho se ye dwadie se ye adesua se ye apomuden empo se ye kuayo ye hye ne nyina kena emu kena na yafa abefo kwan so na ye de aye dwadie titru ye mpese ye de sika ebedi dwa ye pese obia use digital financial services yibi either mobile money, credit card, debit card, QR code. Abefo hyehyɛ ya ni bebree. Ye pese ankrankre nyina eyusu abefo kwan so edidi wondwa. Enti ye nuanom wo musuro so mo adwuma begu no. Me ameda saa asuaye anu mehyɛ mo bose nhyehyɛ ya ye de egu akwan mu no. Afi kra na ebema adwuma no etumpon na akonkan. Na ya trem na ya bre yesusu sika kasha ye yusu no bebre no ya pese ye teso na ye fa abefo kwan so mo edidi yendwa ene ebo yembra enti nhyehyɛ na ye no betrem mom emmensei ebe hyemu ekina baby omudi saa edwumakuo yi bi etuo yi bi ba ye no so ye hu ohawo kakra eba won ho no enti yen ye de aba yen hyehyɛ ni mu ya yen hyehyɛ ya ebeyi saa hawo no dodo na afri ho enti ma yen koma entu se levy ye de ba ebeba ba be ha yen de bi ye hwɛ sika ye di ye yusu ye enokra dollar nye cedi ewo abefo ntentan dwadie a yedi January afi etwamu 2021 ni mu a $234 million ena yedi ewo e-commerce abefo dwadie mu ewo ekwantuo kafa ene accommodation for I can't say high emu $234 million enumpo no na eswate oha enchichemu eduasa enan esign covid restrictions na eba eninti ti yate so 34% nimpo no ena na ye $234 million efa emanta reshe ni makeup mu ni sa niema na ye di mu dwaga na hankwa o $144 million on fashion and beauty alone. Enti si ya san hyehyɛ ya omo di sa adwa nyina ewo abɛɛfo mfidie isu omo ntwea eho eto bia nanso ya mmra no kyerɛ sɛ udi dwa ewo memu ha na wunya mfaso bi ewo ha ewo sɛ utwea ho eto emfa ho sɛ wabie store ana wo hyɛ wo dan mu wudi and edi sa adwa no abɛɛfo kwanso ti adwuma no move afri store dan mu akɔ digital platform so abefo okay abefo ntentan enhyehyɛ eso ɛhɔ no GRA entumi enyeje yen ɛtoɔ na ɛwɔ sɛ ɔmogye no nti asɛ nipa kakra bi ɔhanchichemu enwɔtwe ɛpɛ enetua toɔ ɛwɔ memu ha a yɛdidi yɛmpuntudwuma enyina ɔmokomu ebu yenyinara yebetumi atua nkakra edi asomwasene si yesi yɛpɛ Ghana beyond aid. Ghana ogyina ne nan so afa ne ntoma pa afira a ɔno ankasa abɔ ne bradeɛ a yɛse waso aware a na watɔ prɛte sisi a yɛse yɛn yɛde yɛn ho tinya afei ne yɛkɔ akɔne ne namamanɔne akɔsrɛ ansa ne yɛdidi anaa yɛayɛ ka kwan anaa yɛsi school dan anaa yɛsi ayasabea de tua yɛn puntuo no ho ka yɛma benya adwuma ayɛ abɛɛfo nhyehyɛe no yɛbɛtrem ɛho banbɔ no yɛbenya sika no bi yɛde ayɛ ka kwan yɛbenya bi de ayɛ agenda 111 hospitals a yɛpɛ si yɛsie no yɛbenya bi de ayɛ ti yɛbɛsrɛ Ghanafoɔ nyinaa ɛnkanka yɛn nuanom dɔm kumafoɔ ne sɛ ɔmo ɛmɛka yɛn ho na ehu na aba wɔ mu sɛ ɛyɛ adebɔne bi a ɛba a ɛbɛha yɛn no ɔmo nyi saa ehu no mfiri yɛn mu na mmom yɛn nyinaa yɛmfa yɛn hoɔden ne yɛn ani akyiri na yɛnhwɛ sɛ sika no a yɛgyegyeɛ toɔ no a yɛgyegyeɛ no nea yɛaka sɛ yɛde bɛyɛ no mpanyam paa yɛde edi saa adwuma no yɛyɛ saa aban so bɛtena ase sika bi enyu nkɔ obiara bɔtɔm kɛtaasehyɛ ne porɔyɛ ɛbɛbrɛ ase ɛfiri sɛ woyɛ adwuma abɛɛfo nhyehyɛe mu a ani ɛdam ɛda hɔ fan obiara ne tua mu wode sie a ɛnyɛ yie yɛn nyinaa yɛmmoa na yɛnyɛ saa nhyehyɛe no na yɛmmoa na yɛmmɛn ɛmfa ne ntoma pa ɛmfira ɛda mo nyinaa ase.
Some kakra ewa bra mfidie ne abɛfo mfidie kwan so ɛho to human ade nyinaa ebegu. Honorable Minister yɛda wase mpanimfoɔ mmienu wɔ hɔ aka ɔmo ne ebedi nkɔmɔ yɛwie a na mede mic na ma wo na asɛm bisa anaasɛ adwenkyerɛ a wowɔ no wo so wode ato aban anim ɛwɔ saa town hall meeting ne ɔbɛkasa a ɛtwa to ɔbɛyɛ Minister for Finance owura Koforidua nankasa na mmom saa bere moma yɛmfa nsɛmbɔ kɛseɛ ɛnka ne ho na yɛnto nsamfrɛ Member of Parliament them E-Levy obey them wa boy one man fancy boy and friend share Honorable Alex Afenyo marking Kofi Efutu Honorable obedi kan ka fanti ana Honorable Mubwana onobedi kan ka fanti na Honorable ibia ifi ase no dey che hen titru akwan ho asema ya on the road fund no E-Levy
Asempa FM
one man fancy boy and friend share Honorable
Asempa FM
oye onyamfo Koforidua en mame Open Finance Minister oye onyamfo Koforidua en mame Esla Owusu Ekofo oye communications Otipunechi Aban mpanyinfo asɔfo ankrankro edwumayɛfo ana Ghana mba ewabri oye menyije de menya konya de mrekasa ma ban ifa hen E-Levy se aban ozi taxi bi anazu de ozi bibiriba a obatwi sikefi henu kotokuma yete no ho nsem pi za orisinde onye wonwa za megis de onye inchechrim en no ho anamo na yerutu ozi kan matwe hon adwen akɔikyiri kakra ɔyɛ campaign da wɔn to aba
Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
No one to na ɔmanpanyin Akufo-Addo ndɛ ɔte egodo time a party iwɔ opposition ɔkeka nsɛm bi na nyusuadze hun ɔba abɛn ma za obotum wayɛ a yɛn nyinaa yɛte yɛn nuanom nso a na wɔwɔ abɛn na wɔso wɔ na odu beebi na sɛ yɛka dɛ dɛmaadze yɛ ba yɛbɛyɛ a awon nso wɔsi deebi ahɛ na yɛwɔ abɛn dɛmaadze MPP fo mu ba mu runtum yɛ mɛnyɛ mu kɔ nsɛm kora na ebien bi mu yɛka free SHS sika a yɛtua yɛdze twe nkanea yɛka nursing training allowance yɛka teacher training allowance dɛm nzɛm a maabobɔ ni nyinara time a MPP party ɔwɔ opposition no NDC abana na ɔwɔ do simi pi ka dɛ ɔnam dɛ electricity ɛkawa yɛbɔ yɛdze produce electricity ne ntin aban runtum until electricity do nti yɛn prepaid yɛ kɔkɔtɔ a na wasa yɛ complain ɔmanpanyin na wefi do onya akukuduru ka dɛ sentry bi wɔ osan dɛ ɛka wɔ hɔ nurses training allowance teacher training allowance wɔyi fi hɔ wɔse ɛkaw bi nti wɔruntum damara so na mmɔframa dodoɔ a na wɔapass wɔn BEC ɔdɛ wɔkɔ secondary school wentum wankɔ because kenyi fie ebi amekasa me secondary school a mokɔ no ɔyɛ adom na ɔma mokɔ secondary school za mepia kanye dɛ dɛm nsɛm nyinara na ɔyɛ hawa na ɔwɔ Ghana abana na ɔwɔ do si dɛ wɔruntum na wɔnyɛ ho hwee a yɛn nyinaa yɛnyim MPP party eba asam na ɔkɛn fa ho MPP party ne kada debi ahɛn yɛbotum yɛayɛ ne yɛayɛ ne yɛyi ɔno nti wɔma hɛn akonya ɔne sɛ so nyankopɔn yɛ adom ma NDC ifido ma MPP bɛyi dɛm nsɛm nyinara ɔyɛ free SHS a wɔsi yɛntumi yɛn nyankopɔn na adom yɛyɛ dɛm national teacher training allowance nursing training allowance aban science bay electricity obiara anda ndwene de electricity tariffs na owo soro no botum abefom obefom ami no yo yagitum yagihu yezihu dese wo inyare mun aban amfa tax biara amba menyu kase yanyi free SHS levy na yenyi free SHS tax rather no aban taxes are na NDC aban ahihye gu hode o de yetuan opanyin Koforidua otehi oba parliament obotwitwa taxes ni nyare mu odu bebi yenuanu NDC fo say na taxes nyina na mo twa akoi mo be yeden na mo finance government expenditure the records are there abani yiji taxes fifi akonim otetew bebi oyedo otetew do abani until now impose new taxational measures are overburden Ghanaians. The records are there. Na E-Levy
is the best internet radio for Ghanaians
abroad. Yenya anda the COVID bi reba oba say gozi oba ma nkrofo won adwuma akofom oba ma akwentu ahaw ende nimu nsem pii wiase ni bebiara abani biara rebre osande sikasama all de okodo na abani tum ozini dwuman de misika ni bi nyiwo nti ye baye ne dan abana asama oro karanyi de minimu ezi no kwar me baye social intervention programs may impose a tax to finance them but easy baby ayedui or they solve in Zama Akase Bien or Oman Ghana. On in your base. Yen roads, Yanakwan, Yanamo Frama, Wope, Ejuma, Aye. And paying for Minister of Roads Waha. Mekat Neguano as road fund chairman, naming him there. A gun hit wom papa. It's in Crawford Cowbay 5 billion. Sika Sikana Abano, or 30 million. Itua Kwesata in Yamanze. Itua Adra Mansakawa in Yamanze. One and into an account. Nano Krakwani Goro boys. Then it be obisane a certificate bimam. Na mu da certificate na ko viral. Ehwe WhatsApp na certificate na nante wa che. Obi aso nyimobi na wojiji nkofo woniska. We need a system, a verifiable system, a reliable system. We create a certainty in your businessman. In case you go your business, and there's no certainty attached to the outcome of your business, your cost of doing business increases, or you even better forget about it. Problem all when you yes, something there. Road tolls bosom 6 million, 7 million. Afimun ahin. Now a kilometer of a road obakos ahin. Them 6 million on yen koduhwe. Nambom no yemfa ntubo ote da membra. Yezeba enhyehyeye wo ho no aban benya sike bia no mu yedula regularly no yebo hu do contractors wo tua monka. Na se contractor yedwuma no won tua na kawa. Obede na kwase na abedo. Ontumba yen nyinara ye wo parliament. Yekọ yen mpesda nsama wo bi sen anyi de daba na ebe yakoni. Roads minister or answer question chen minister of parliament because MPBR was a opede wa yakoni. Iti mesre yehia za yebotum na yeza ye na akon ne yetum ne yetua akontract esefunuka. Contract or yedwuma offer obi a onkita nsa na edwuma kra obi a wanko school offer obi a weko school machine operation offer university graduate engineer wafan open management team obi oye finance oye accountant oye dam inti contractors for say yetum years yenwa rehwe won edwuma ne ya up manage the economy so that what the government expects to have in terms of growth in Kenya. Until we can't allow that sector to continue to suffer. And Mijizi there, E-Levy is one major answer. Second, Finance Minister, also you start at Onya Baze. Yanam Brente says Sierra zo oho kasini de. Omanpein Akufo-Addo ni free SHS meeting. From a World graduate if university. And na dodoa wobanya nimzi wo Ghana no on the phone obi wie secondary school another okwa technical school wie ano wie university opedwuma ye ana yezo obi bia ba sha abanedwuma man so police was afibia work for 10,000 immigration 10,000 fire service 10,000 ahina obotu afa ekwa brochi mema when ye osande ankrankre dwuma wa hye mekena za eja finance minister oya papa no ye mobora ma cha owa botel oye ne dwuma hu de nkankata ma woso onya homekampo osemeye ekwa ha oroko osemeye because ona rozi desede ankrankre dwuma na ama wedu bebi a wedu nti ozinankasa ne personal experience no all relate and telling us that it when you see I was here juma na sebio enyi sika e ya mobor e ko bank akaji bosia ye mu binum brebo ase wa ankrankra juma yem na yenyim bank loan ekaja e bro especially when you are a starter abanin sheshe there them E-Levy part of it was reboshe nyanambana wewe university yɛne na we kosua nsa no dwuma bi ne mba na wo nyimzi bi de wankasa so wo pede wo ye wona ankorankora dwuma osande so onon wo hye mekena nyɛ hia nyina na yɛkɛkyes adwuma wɔ abem na kyɛ dɛ abanan adwuma sam rekɔdo na yɛkɛsɛ nyinara ɛnyɛ so a yɛyɛ amanyɔfo yɛtee yɛn ho and a forum like this yɛmba pretend there's a more kawofo mu yɛnte ɔyɛ yɛte wɔ so politicians kafra wɔdzi sika wɔdzi sika wɔdzi ana yɛnte moka na monka no kware nti sɛ moka ne dama na the main concern there how will that money be utilized then minister okay there is going to be a transparent system emi no yo yebotum ya track the abanizi dem E-Levy bay no kware ni contractors is deside wotua won ka no kware ni yebotum yezi ho deside mbrenten nketesia dodo a wokitensa na adwuma a wokita nimzi da wopede wo ye wankwankra adwuma wonya access to capital to do their business. Then we can be sure that indeed aban nenum kasa okan no ozaye adwuma no kwakwa dem be music kan kan no abani is free SHS riba no wambeji tax in fee enche. So it means that comparing ambeyo ku ebien ebi atena bem ebi akọ position ebi asana ababio se covid amba na sikasam anya basa minjinzi de nchaban zidam E-Levy baba to survive as a government because abani wo track record de oben otetil tax do ibi compose o yi fi ho meanwhile no je bebe nyina no abana nka de mama mensa do sesi a mebo county free SHS metwem abana nka dem abana nka nche teacher training a nurses there look sesi a yehu de sikeni wonti allowance metwem meanwhile no abana yeska no za solve critical nzeme bia obobo hen now the politics of it I mean emide bia meka de politics de me MPP obisu CPP or your competition se nipa na nka sentiam a obe na wa babem abazinti no de bi obonsim mam no ya ze papam po a aka ye politics nti no oye do oka bibi odu twa ozibochu ya tibida oye no mampanyin kufo ozisikas aka hye fango ne hwehwem magana yetu fango makade was a crow castle the mabre brofi was a fango catch on mampanyin kufo yeti wo radio do p was fango na was we onye no kwa da Ghana yanam hi ne ye Kenya fango eyi mposise yo oya adwongo yeti obibi o wa ha bia no ozi ho dese nanso na chiri ni e baaze na yehu ni yehu do ye no kwa fango abagana mpa yetu inde sanye dam fango ya yenyen ya che yegina hin enti Ghana mba yemfa NDC sam MPP sam ntwenche budget no ya pass wo parliament yen NDC fo na ya pass budget no pepepe wankade the oppose rate records will bear me out consensus yewie ye wo bibia wo fan appropriation na nanyi de aban sike biara aban ohietum efi parliament and some was spent also ya pass by consensus now pass budget ewie na pass appropriation is aban ko spend aban no spend no benya sika no nti sika no benya na otum ozi ayewu roads na moframa we dwuma sam akodon na se bio onezi menyun ya adwena na ibiaka na cheda wana politics in Orba ba mo wenyi sum de yenuanom watena be medei wonye ba ya adwende yes initially was wonye ya adwen echi was so wonye ya nche onye 1% finance minister waka ne name also telcos no onye wana akasa was so 0.25 bi se wɔ so wɔbɛtum atew da man nti yɛnhwɛ ne fareba nye ende ehyiezi nti Ghana mba enuanom nti America ni de wɔn yɛnyɛ gyezi wɔ nhyehyɛ yi mu osande abani yi obi biara a ɔwɔ Ghana ni abani pon yɛ adwen bɛgya atom dɛ asɛm biara abani kae dɛ onye tuma ɔbɛyɛ nhyehyɛ biara a ɔde n'ano kae no sɛ eni ohuni a aswat there is no way a Ghana nyi bi botuma egyina beebi waka de oh dam akufo ada abani ɔwɔ opposition ɔka de ɔba ɔbɛyɛ dɛm ɔbɛn mpɔ ɔnyɛ hwee enya bɛn ne yɛ adwen mpo ntum nka osande za wɔkɛn wɔ manifesto promise mu no wɔze yɛ adwuma it can be 100% that I concede but largely it's been implemented nti no wɔnyɛ gyizi dɛ ɛnyɛ ndaadaa bi na mo w'ani sum dɛ mbrɛ ɔda hin anyimi sɛ Nyankopɔn yɛ adom no yɛ pass azia Ghana fo obehu no mu mfaso ibi esida wɔ mampanyin kufoɔ na abredo ibi esi wɔ akufo ado na abredo na ɛbɛsɛn yɛhu bibi papa wɔ abanyin nti wɔn yɛ nyinaa yɛn tene Nyankopɔn nhyɛ wɔn dɛ wetim mede wɔn ase pii Nyame nhyɛ wɔn dɛ
yɛne ɔfɛnsɛ mbɔ kɛse ma Honorable Alexander Fenyamaki Member of Parliament for Futu na no gisɛm na nkyerɛkyerɛmu a ɔdze ama heni nnuanom na adɔfoɔ nkyɛn bia medze akasɛmu no bɛba baabi ma ɛwɔ na adwenkyerɛ ɛwɔ asɛmbise bi ɛwɔ no wɔasɔre dze ato mpanyimfo yi hɔn anim bɛma wɔadwie mepɛ dɛ mɛfrɛ ɔman yi hɛn fotosamfo the minister responsible for finance the Honorable Kenneth Nanaya Okutunkulunku Koforidua. Let's receive him with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's good to be in Koforidua. Colleague ministers, thank you very much for being here. Our pastors, thank you for blessing these occasions, members of parliament, and everyone else here. It's really an exciting afternoon for me to be here with you. And as my colleagues have said, to really talk through this issue of E-Levy and to see what we can do as a country to move forward and also move really out of the shackles of the West, where we continue to borrow so much money and then they dictate to us what we should do. So this is an emancipation of sort, and we should really take it to heart.
The best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
We are the shining star of Africa. And there are three pillars that we deem we should incorporate, because ours is a country that leads, and it's an idea for the continent. So we started as the first independent sub-Sahara Africa country in Nkrumah's time. For our size, we led the whole continent into democracy. It took almost 60 years for us to then have an organ of the AU in our country, and that was the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which really it's the new independence, emancipating ourselves politically in the 60s and then moving at this time to being the hub for investments and trade, which is the new economy that we have to. But there are three pillars that our president always wants to remember. In his mind is the political independence about. when we talk about Ghana beyond aid. And this, in his mind, is a political independence, and Ghana, therefore, as a beacon of democracy and a safe space in this region. The second one being economic emancipation, Ghana beyond aid, which we really were en route to achieving before COVID, which the President has also emphasized on.
Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
And so even in the midst of this leading politically, a great carryover in terms of our economic achievements, and now what we call the National Cathedral, which is also going to be a centerpiece of what Ghana represents. So Ghana as an idea is something that we should capture. But what does that mean? It's going to require us to be a confident, prosperous society with the human capital that is required to be able to raise our heads and lead Africa and the black race complete emancipation. But it's going to take some sacrifices on our part and a clarity for us that we are leaders and will do extraordinary things. So this is our lot, and this is where the President insists that we should step up in history to be able to achieve that and lead Africa out of this morass. And we have seen it, especially during this time of the COVID experience, where the West have left us where we should be. We have a system in Africa where literally 90% of all our pharmaceuticals are imported, and a whole series of things that create dependency. And therefore, when the global supply chain is cut, we have problems, big problems. So we went through 2017 to 2019 with incredibly stellar results as to what we as a country had been able to achieve, moving from 3.4% of growth to somewhere over 7%, reducing our budget deficits from 6.5% into about 5%, making sure that our currency did not depreciate as it used to be, and is quite stable, and also having the necessary foreign exchange cover to make sure that we are able to support our currency and our imports. I mean, during this period, we did the impossible. We spent over 40 billion cedis on education, 14 billion on healthcare, 14.9 billion on enhancing internal security, 18 billion on flagship projects, and it just continues as to the things that we were able to do with monies that the NDC were sure we will never be able to get. So the benefits have been for all of us an all-inclusive growth in which about 1.26 million people have benefited from free SHS, 3.45 million covered by school feeding program, the NAPCO, 100,000 young persons, the largest in our history, and over 344 households given lifeline under the LEAP program. So for us, the sovereignty of our people is clear. Everybody as a citizen having a part in this enterprise of this idea of a Ghana that is confident, prosperous, and leading the nation states of the world. Our president has also earned incredible international repute, and now when Ghanaians walk outside or even here, NDC or MPP, their heads are high because they know that Koforidua has done it. Let's give him a clap. So we have to continue with these initiatives. And that's then the challenge of where do we get the resources to be able to do this. Traditionally, when you are caught in such a vice, you go to petrol, you increase it, and we know the cataclysmic effect it has on all of us when we do that, you know. So the good Lord, looking at what the president does, you know, led us into this area of e-commerce. As the minister mentioned, we have grown from a country that was transferring about 78 billion a year in 2016 to over 500 billion this year, likely to be close to $1 trillion, 950 billion next year. Now that is a system that everyone uses, that all of us use. So when she talks about only 2.4 million people paying taxes to support the 30.8 million, you begin to see the enormity of pressure on these 2.4 million people. And how is that sustainable? How do you deepen democracy if you do not pay taxes? Your ability to challenge the political elite is muted, or you join in some underhanded things that we should not be doing. So we came back with the E-Levy. Separately, for three reasons. Well, first, certainly to broaden the tax base and then to increase revenue. And when you look at Ghana and the rest of our region, we have about 12.2% or so revenue to GDP, which is awfully low compared to our neighbors, 16.5% and up. That we cannot sustain. So we need to cure that. And then when you even look at the distribution of how we pay taxes, we have literally 88% being paid in Greater Accra, and Eastern region, I have you know that if we combine Eastern region, Ashanti region, and Western region together, they pay 3% of national taxes. That can't be right. And the population will bear me out that that can't be right. So we must all find a way to what we call burden share to be able to do that. So let's dig deep in ourselves. Nobody likes taxes. But really, if you look at our debt situation, what we need to do so we raise our own money to be able to build the roads that Kwesi Amwakwata is looking for, that all of you are looking for, then we must pay our way through it. If we begin to look at our employment issues, and I think that's a place that is really passionate for our president. And there's good reason for that, because what are we saying? We are saying that under the age of 24, you literally have 56% of our population in that zone. And when you look at economically active people in our country, you have about 11 million people, and that also then requires that we look at that population. Now, if you were to even begin to look, because of the issue of education, you have about 4.6 million people at primary school. By the time we get to JHS, of ours. From JHS to SHS, we moved from 2.6 million. So what happened to the 1.8 million?
Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
From JHS to SHS, we moved from 2.6 to 1.2 million. So what happened to that group of people in that category? And then from SHS to tertiary schools of all nature, we get to about 500,000. So 700 in the tertiary institutions, and maybe 10% or less may get jobs. So we have an explosive problem on our hands, not because it might only cause chaos, but the sovereign rights of every individual as a Ghanaian must be something that we care about. We cannot hide our head in the sand, pretending that this is not an issue that would cripple our country and really demean the status of our persons as Ghanaians. But we are people who are the black star, who should be shining, who should be leading in the world. So president is extremely worried about unemployment, and therefore program, the largest that the country has ever seen. Young pioneer pales in comparison to it or anything else. And this also came through effective burden sharing. Burden sharing in the effect that we then approached the banks, and the banks agreed to provide $5 billion for private sector and small businesses for the next 3 years. We approached our international financial partners. They agreed for another $2 billion, that's $7 billion to support this effort. And government itself, through the E-Levy, will do 1 billion CDs a year to ensure that this 10 billion package enables us to take care of our youth, which is really important to each one of us. Because really, at the center of our party is the reverence for the individual citizen. Because it is that human capital that makes the difference in all that we do. And it is something that our friend, Second Deputy Majority Leader mentioned, that we have all experienced. Because yes, you see all of us here like that, but we all had very humble beginnings, and therefore I grew up in Chebi, lived a mile away from school, wake up in the morning, you go to the river, get your water, put your plantain in your pocket, and walk 1 mile from where we live to Chebi Government School. If you get to the school, because Brim is on the way and you might decide to swim all day instead of going to school. So that was what happened. And then fortunately, Dad decided that, I have some son in Chebio, so let me find him. And that is what made the difference. The intervention that changed from you not being the smartest person in your Chebi school, because you didn't even go to school. You typically went swimming to find some okoto to catch. So that did, and that changed the trajectory of one's life to be standing here today, being the finance minister. And also fortunately had a strong mother who decided not to abort because she was young, and the young man from the royal family had come home for holidays, and one thing led to the other, and the poor woman was at fault for my dad's problems. But anyway, so this is it. So the issue of President Koforidua insistence on senior high school is because he knows the transformation that would occur in that. But then it leads to human capital that must also be helped on its way forward to realize, who they are and what they can do for themselves and the nation. So over this period, we have spent all of this wonderful money to be able to bring our economy into some stability until COVID hit. And COVID, has been devastating globally, and therefore all of us have to recalibrate one way or the other how we move forward. But even in the middle of that confusion, you had a president who was clear in his mind, as he said, don't ever waste a crisis. So charge the Ministry of Finance to come up with a transformation program, even in the middle of that. That's the Mother Cares Over Tampa program, so that we move our legs, we continue to look towards the sun, and find a way that when the COVID is over, we will be ahead of the game. So we have the issues of debt, we have the issues of employment, and we have Christian mathematics issues that we have to deal with, which we all embrace because we want roads, we want digital infrastructure, we want physical infrastructure. And this is what we have brought to Parliament. What do we do about this? And the numbers are clear that the economy is shifting from the physical to the virtual, and therefore we need to be up ahead of the game. So we then brought to Parliament a 1.75% levy. As the Minister has mentioned, this is not the most egregious tax that you could get, but it really leads to the issue of inclusion of all of us to build our society and wherever we really want to go to transform this land. And that has been the subject of this debate. The question is, do we want to move to this new Jerusalem? Do we want to move to this new El Dorado so that we can, as a people, show that with our own resources, and there's plenty of it, as you see various buildings coming up in this country. And even as you look at 1D, 1F, I think we started the 181 or so 1D, 1Fs around. Nobody thought it was possible, of which 106 are complete around the districts, and 81 odd and more are happening. You can also see what happened with Planting for Food. That has resulted, in a sense, in actually being able to export some food at certain points in time. So that really is the reason. Can we sustain our debt and pay for it ourselves so we don't go out borrowing so much? Can we have the resources to support employment, which is key and affects all of us, and really is very dispiriting and breaks down the dignity of our people? That is not the people that we are. And then can we support our infrastructure to be able to then increase productivity, move around the country, and create that modern society that we talk about. And that really, in a sense, is also now going to be elevated by AFCFTA, which is here, so that the issue of regionalizing our economy is now upfront with us. And that is a logistics hub, automobile hub, tourism hub, healthcare hub, etc. And then you see the modern economy that our forebears were confident that we will be able to construct in our land and show Africa and the world the way to go. So when people say, why E-Levy and why you should reduce it? Well, we listened. We truly listened and said, well, maybe when something is new, you can have very negative thoughts on that. But we've had a lot of the history of that, and that people one way or the other in opposition would oppose anything, whether it's good or bad. But we all know that the council normal effort NCAD Sika and F. If you're in Sika, I am friend talk idea is. So that really is what we talk about when we say we want this E-Levy to ensure that we are masters of our own destiny, that what happened with COVID will not have such a devastating effect because we'll have our own resources and we'll be able to guide ourselves in the way in which we've managed. So we've come a long way from being in the grips of the IMF to our freedom to be able to do what we do. And I think people forget what happened when we were in the IMF program. We couldn't pay for nurses and teachers. We couldn't hire anymore because there were restrictions on that. I mean, it's just really thinking you can go back to Egypt in a way in which we have forgotten how difficult and pernicious that master from Washington was. So we can deal with them for them to give us advice,
internet radio
but
for
we not
Ghanaians
ever
abroad.
get into the IMF program. And if we don't do this E-Levy, you are just pushing yourself in a way that would potentially end up in such a disaster. And I mean, there was a warning of that because last week was a very difficult week for the country. Last week we got downgraded by Fitch, ostensibly because they did not believe we could raise the revenues that we had forecasted because we were fighting about E-Levy. But what does that mean when you get downgraded and the spreads widen for your bonds? Essentially, what we are saying is that if you go back to the market, you may pay about 500 basis points more, which means that if I borrowed $1 billion, I pay $50 million more each year. The bonds are usually 10 years, and so 50 times 10, that's $500 million a year. All because we were arguing and not being able to make up our mind on resources that we needed. So we need to moderate that, because the consequences are quick. But I'm sure last week there were other things that also were difficult for us as a country. The Bogoso incident was not good for anybody. And then, of all places, Comoros could beat us in soccer. Now that should not ever happen again. I hope the coach has been taking our geography out of our country by now. So this is where we are with E-Levy, and why we therefore need it, why we should be passionate about it. It will give us about 6.9 billion.
The best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
Because as you put these taxes in place, you sharpen the administration of it, and as the growth trajectory, as described by the minister, will be clear that is going to be an anchor for our taxation, and therefore a continuing capacity and robustness of our ability to get the revenue mobilization that is required. Now, the E-Levy, what does it cover? I'm sure we'll do a Q&A on that. So it's mobile money transfers between accounts on the same electronic money issuer, mobile money transfers from an account on one EMI to a recipient on another EMI, transfers from bank accounts to mobile money accounts, transfers from mobile money accounts to bank accounts, and bank transfers on a digital platform application which originate from a bank account belonging to an individual. Then also, what does it not cover? Cumulative transfers of 100 cedis per day by the same person. So if you transfer 100 cedis per day, there's no E-Levy on that. I remember being Frenchiniko, or Achimhimai is the new improved name, where a lady said, Nasada, Yendi 100 cedis you could for a dos. Na Sumibia, I see 3,000 cedis a month by a transfer. In Jadena, 100 cedis exemption, or not the audience a high dodo. It's a 30 cedis, 20 cedis now, a home.
The best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
But really, we have pegged it at 100 per day, which means 3,000 a month you will not touch. And I'm not sure there are any poor people below above the 3,000 level. So transfers between accounts owned by the same person would also not be touched by E-Levy. Transfers for the payment of taxes, fees, and charges, and anything on the Ghana.gov platform would also not be charged. Electronic clearing of checks is exempt, and specified merchants, i.e. merchants whose payments to commercial establishments are registered with GRA for income tax and VAT purposes. And then transfers between the principal, master agent, and agent accounts would also not be charged. So really, in the end, that becomes, where the car meets the road. And what we are saying, in effect, is in looking at these issues of debt, of employment, of infrastructure, I think we should all look to support this. 1.75% of monies that you send around is not the money that is going to kill you, but the cumulative effect of moving from 2.4 million to maybe 11, 12 million paying their part of our taxes will just create this pool of resources for us to be able, as a country, to continue to hold our heads high and be that free, independent nation of pride of the 3 pillars of political independence, economic emancipation.
Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
Spiritual elevation would occur for us as a country. So let's really hold our MPs' feet to the fire to let them know that we understand who we are as a people, a proud nation who want to pay their own way. Yes, we haven't for a long time. And then there are issues of accountability. And in going through over Christmas to Enyinam, Apapem, Himai, and Pram Pram in Greater Accra, it was very clear, as Honorable Markin mentioned, the issue of accountability. So how do I then come to you every quarter or to Parliament to show how those resources were used, to show what we have used E-Levy for, so that we all move in step and begin, to reduce the cynicism on politicians and accountability for all of us. But when you pay, you are likely to have that voice to be able to yell, shout, and demand that. Yeah. So we have the Youth Start program as part of it going forward. We'll be able to sustain our debt and reduce it and pay our way through, and the issues of infrastructure, digital and physical, would also, especially roads, will also be taken care of. So, ladies and gentlemen, this really is an opportunity to ask other questions that may be on your heart, and to understand the sincerity of where government is coming from, with even the limited resources, the amazing record that we have established, and what we need to do these 3 years.
Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
Because we have been shown to be faithful of little, and therefore will do more. So, as the Bible says in Genesis, if these people can speak one language, then there will be no restraint to what we can do. So let's speak this one language of E-Levy, let's make it pass, and there will be no restraints to where we'll go as a people. But we need the spirit of courage, of love, and self-discipline for us to get there. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma Yemonsema, Honorable Minister for Finance, Honorable Koforidua, Honorable Bano Beyin Seminibiano, Obebo, Ninkomodi, and Tofa, Ewotrimu, Jumedi, GTV, Fan Live, Joy News, Metro TV, Net2 TV, GH1 TV, City TV, TV3, Wuntumi TV, Asasi Radio, Asempa FM, Kesben Television, Happy FM, Afima FM, Home Base Television, Bright TV, Ago 96.9 FM, Anansi Radio, Bosome FM, Ofi FM, ETV, YFM, any stations a whole door I organ has a fan like baby, you know, so was in the Sebi and Argentina as Habri and Ka Otto and Sao baby, I wanna made him Sabbath also. Na mama yet the Akasemuna bro, me who a brandy be your share and tomata de short sleeve, ewa hasi, them so no be kind. Na Mpalto yemfa Akasemuno Emma Openi Bako. Yemfa Akasemuno Openi Bako. Nti be fia se we chiro Bako Mienu Miensa.
Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
Patro for Mike no start if you chiro mama. Openi patro bodi na wa chire baby a ufi na adwenchire bi ana asem bi se bi wo ho a na odi ato mpanimfo anim sene mpanimfo ede anidie amaye nyina ne edi nkomo no adwenkyere bia ye beji atom anidie ni obuo ene wo se fasa akwan no so o da ba bi ni se kode a ne ho de o to nsa fra mi se mindu mo mic ne ba bi e wo no did see e be ne kwa so pani patro kasa
good afternoon patro me pesa me ka twi kaka
patro fro say
the prime Dr. Isaac Osafo Champon.
Dr. Isaac Osafo, but Dr. na medical tanani
Bachan.
Pacho kasa. Dr. Isaac
Osafo Champon.
Osafo Champon.
I am the same. Many as our queen, and I'm so much E-Levy home. And he said, E-Levy, no, the discussions near the nano, or me, my dream, mudia, a idea, a rebel or mine. But issues in Kitty view on ma, Senia, in for church, you know, between Sanya Pines, one. Let Buru in for our Hanamo, especially Honorable Ken Koforidua. So I say, taxi Chiaohui, 77 per year. But the person did two just say, the good opportunity me E-Levy many Jehon Pan say, your uncle or many more artisans in particular, carpenter for, mason for, electricians, or move a bow down so mouth, a human, on baby Biama, and so tax our move piano, 77 per year, direct tax APR. Eti wama dwene no E-Levy no even though ebema nkofo bi chia direct taxes already no on be say tria bi no ba on sa fo ne no so nti no wato nemo suggest you na present am say aban betumi a anka yebenya a separate account ya E-Levy sika eba no eno ho no mo na ebekọ ne yehunu say ebi abosumi bia no Sasikaino, Nankonko Fra, the consolidated fund, A.B. on Bay's Cano say, Amuchia Baba Bintia, the Papa, before for Name who say, Sat, Futui, Sike Gumuni, na Sebane say, or see a Bibia, and Sako Boom, a day and a day. Na second suggestion, soon say a possible, in Tabosumi and Sabia, Abain, and my Hunu, E-Levy Sikanoa, Yagiano, Dodua Yenya, Nijuma Dia. Abang this canwayo. It may find says a pine I say or the ya. Acquire ya diani. It will be on the ground for people to appreciate it. Say bia and near my war in Kata so my say the bayano. And Unia, ye be huna say, oh, any triano, near the yeni. And the crackrano, who say I say, Omo 800 Ghana cedis no. So we transfer to this cabin a 200 say a possible anka a bit to me send this car as much as 3,000, 10,000 our mobile money so a bit me so ban say bia the bit me scan a doom pen so bia as our level no yen charging cobium send be ya anka obia o to be send be 10,000 on Konkutia 1.5 non flow says can you be great man.
Matewa semna simpacho me monsem mano osi onu edi kan onu de osusu se asempa mom enko osusu se abrebia ne yembu ho akonta sempo no ye benya account for bi ne enko consolidated fund mo a yemfengu mema panimfo a kire se mrama ho kwan se enye ne saa osan so kire se nka bosumi miensa bia no yembu ho akonta na empo kosro no enka de aboni fan kapa na threshold bi be wo ho anka de account pam chomo de akasemu na ma ni poto su mienu ana openi akasemu no wo mpache okasa ye ni bre ye hwe wo TV ni radio ahodo so timpacho pam cho ni microphone no form kakra
yeah ye family ama buchi
ama pato ere adwuma
Ghana Library Authority.
Ghana Library Authority.
Tewu of TUC.
Tewu, okay.
Yes. So, every say E-Levy a year. Now, my suggestion is 100 citizens, which is meant for those at the, let's say, the poorest level. Let's raise it from between 300 to 500. As I say, also, young school. We want to send them 200 or 300. For them also be paying 1 or 2 emergencies that will crop up. So I'm suggesting that let's raise this from 100 between 300 to 500.
I want to make kind of cheek a crabby mammy, Mr. Anna, we're treating yet.
Maybe say, yeah, raise 100 now, yeah, them let's say wait for those at the grassroots car. Yeah, raising no. Embra saying between 3 to 500.
Between 3 to 500.
Yes.
I'm a butcher, Tewu. Pacho Matimeda was saying. Akasamuni and Fanny Porto, me and San Femano. Na Yenti Nasem. Pacho Sabotre. Tuntumno way. I was talking sanitizing. Timomo sanitizing, we say. They are sanitizing Pacho Isu. Now, Pacho Casa.
The Pacho, your friend, Kwame Bafo.
Kwame, Bafo, come and patrol the Juma.
Me a driver.
We a driver. Patrol you.
Me kasa me fi ajoso abobi wa yefo. Koforidua. Na mi mo de me dwen say. E-Levy no nta da boa yen. Na ade ba ko a eha me ba ko ne say. Se Ghana ye ka se saade we be boa ya na ye de aye amanyosem. Ye de ye amanyosem a MPP for sorry I was say NDC for the eninye. NDC for sorry I say MPP for the eninye. Na yura ba ko wa fi mu na me fa ne currency President Mills what the VAT e buy na VAT no de buy no asema e kan ne say na MPP for say VAT ne nye e be high adwene e be ha o mu say enso so VAT no buy no MPP buy no wantwam oto aso enti say VAT no buy na watimi aba na wato aso de a say sa E-Levy so ba dati ankwa ma bia NDC for so ba so a omo say anye o omo mfo aso enso nya de a sa de we ba omo betwam enti mesre ye nyina ya moa na sa ye boa na sa E-Levy ba na sa betumi aboa na ye manom ye nuanom obi a obi adwuma ene ade atimi aboa de a ye mfo aso na ye moa na asamba ko ha me ne say ye wura abambe babin o se obeji saade o yatum nti o tu kwan akohwe ne ho yare nti yesre no on trans ne anyintum na ewia wakọ masem
Kwame oye driver ejiso wo say wo de ojitum na mo politics no na ye nyai ori abagbe ni ha na mo akwantu no otu ye ntumi nka nsisu dua say obeji atum nti na oye ne say no de ye ntumi nka ne sa ye hwem ne nka oman ne ho asem na se ne wa kan ye fa politics no ento nchen ye beji adwenkyere mienu na mama mpanimfo ayia no pacha opani okura kasemu no hwan na ye kɔ ne ho
yes
opani okura kasemu no hwan na ye kɔ ne ho
ye fam nana Baby can remember my father eba honorable Befi Pesuaso na my yard pass mo bae na program papa the message mo say mama chi ni no so brofo no do so dodo if you say me fi akra obi ma na me say me fa de ko na moda o market obere pem dio na ma me na ka say afi kwa ya brewo no brofo akese ni hia monye we share tell na da untumi ana me hu say na madam esla na also anso ma me ade on ye be ade papa me tumi ka am de car speed am de buy lucky enough be di ya na madam so di ade na kochi et mesre mo ade na mo ye no ehu hia nanu ya honorable Kopoku no ya press conference chi no ka o chiremu edu MPP for so mine blofo market for so yensu na tia tax no o ko market e je before the tia tax no won dem e tia no nipa do say sabi won oni ma de do kakra bi o so tia de na se na yen tia se no tutu no na enko school nko akire
na say ye da wase ya tia se na nkomo na nkasa wo ho bibia na
o say
nkomo na nkasa wo ho asem bia na
ye no kan say mesrem se ya no so da de na iko no akamo de be ma MPs no na nkan pesuaso no no akono chirechiremu e man krofo ati ase yie because recently honorable Befi Townhall meeting di okokoko mra mia ma de ne fine e bi kamo be ne sa na nkan MPs no okone pesuaso a no organize no achiremu yie masemo ano no me da wase
na se mame nka bibi kakra bi ncheo enem panimfo akasa nyina ono ba afanyo market okan afante honorable Eslo so okan brofo kan ni twi sunset TV stations to be brief fan brofo ya me kan brofo ne fanti na market finance minister so se na ne kan no wie no obebo ne tofo a ono so be kire na asem ni na tofa mu otwi MPs so bebre ago MPs bebre amuhu won wa he dia wo kan no anomo ye omo kwa probo e kire mu oba bia wo so omo kire mu nyina ti wasem ne yate na super pacho mefa de twato mienu na mama mpanimfo eya no ago opani a ukra kasa mutuntum no be kasa ansa na de ukra kokko na kasa pacho kasa
yo mpacho from Seth ajay kwabi
Seth de juma na ye
me teacher ni
Seth oye teacher Seth ye tie o
yo masem ne se eto de untumi ntram mu kasa untu ato de ye yenim se no de kire man but the hardware say the BRC will be a codisca. For example, Auditor General report say 12 billion aira, but we are chasing 7 billion. The bank you bet the Nyani or Ghana ha, you better say Obia Kodi Ghana Sika. Now it never Gina court, a Buano for the Nakotuma Nasi, I just can't free ho. It is alleged for in Kojina court ho, Emma assembling your foolish case. They are tossing you know. Does it mean say, the all former set a tria tax rodono, E-Levy bay. You didn't be become one moment here. Yes, you bet you more, and I bet here, dear so.
The Pacho Mati, the chat to Omeko Obano Kra microphone Kokon, and about Minister Pacho Ura said, teacher, so person TSS, what sitting one from him say, Auditor General said 12 billion a year. Now 12 billion a year, then Uncle General, now we bet 7 billion or E-Levy mo. Pacho no ever pay anu ye kakra, ewo one kasa or directly. And sana, Edikaino, ago, and sana Edikaino. Emrama on say create account for from Fenkutumu na ena nkunta buo adwenkyerɛ baako ne sɛ nkabe bo so memiɛnsa bia yɛmbu ho akonta na obi ɛho sɛ ampa sempo ana teku ana dama na ɛgye na wei ni ɛda ɛhɔ adwuma minisa mɛba wo hɔ nkae ne de adwenkyerɛ nti mienu wei mɛba wo ha bɛgye adwenkyerɛ mpakyɛ de twa to na maba ne
the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.
Masam baako a mepɛ sɛ meka ne sɛ saa adeɛ wei ɛyɛ adeɛ papa na mepɛ sɛ mehu sɛ nti a moantimi anyɛ town hall meetings yi ansa na ɔpanyin de akɔ na asan aba yi ebiara ne education die mpamotɔ mambo me de yɛfrɛ me Joyce Yosinjan meyɛ retired teacher bibi wɔ hɔ na yɛ papa sɛ yɛnim sɛ CST bɛyi there was so much opposition nti bibi papa sɛ ba na wɔ sɛ modi kan ɛma yɛn asefoɔ no yɛte aseɛ na yɛn a yɛtumi kasa yi anka yɛtumi akɔnvinse nkurɔfoɔ ebi kura nka yɛbɛpushi no ama mo adwuma ayɛ mmerɛ enti no yɛsrɛ sɛ bibi papa sɛ ba momfa mmra bottom no na yɛn starting fee ɛhɔ ansa na mo de akodu mpanimfoɔ mu afei nea mente aseɛ bio ne sɛ adeɛ a ne yɛse yɛde bɛboa road fund yɛn wie yɛ na toll ɛwɔ ɔman yi mu nyinaa mɔgya saa sika ne esampa at least yɛkeka bɔ man ka ɛbɛyɛ 1 kilometer of road yɛgyae nti sɛsɛ sɛ wei anyɛ yie a mesrɛ bisa sɛ yɛbɛsan kɔ toll
ne yɛde ayɛ anaa nkae ne adwenkyerɛ na mmom deɛ ɛtwa to mmienu no sef a ɔyɛ teacher say wate sɛ 12 billion ayera na ɛno no Auditor General ka yɛ na kyerɛ sɛ no kora anaa sɛ ɛyɛ bi adeɛ Auditor General di kan hu ne mfitiase afi na mpanimfoɔ bɛde mu asukɔ san sɛ no kora deɛ anka na adwenkyerɛ ne sɛ nkɛnkɔgyeɛ no ne nyae nkɔmmɔdi a aka no ɛna ayi ɛm sɛ Gladys ana Grace Joyce say in the future na the akawe ni no yemfi ase yemfi for man sanade akosoro nyese esoro an sanade abo please ampa John count me ya no kakrama ya kebere mo friends and monchia minister responsible for finance
yo that's you obaka say Dr. Isaac and start say young artisans no o nti ahwe nti ono de yɛnhwɛ wɔn na yɛ make sure sɛ wɔbɛtua na wei bɛka wɔn na dɔk adeɛ a sɛ mepɛ sɛ mekyerɛ wo no nso sɛ ade yɛde Ghana cardfoɔ no ɛkɔma GRA na sɛ GRA wɔn wɔ adeɛ tax identification numbers bɛyɛ 5.5 million ɛne yɛde Ghana card the database yi kɔma wɔn to another 15.5 million nti yɛhwɛ mu no dɔk 60,000 doctors and lawyers and architects and whatever own to agree. In the new masons near artisans and well, yeah, Casa P or radio so near, I don't know. I want to chain or la born in a cantonments, no. Once own to ya. And I want to come to you. And you, E-Levy, dear, sending up by the digitalization. Vice President, Minister of Communication, a bit much yena, then a bear will be near Obiaye. It's a very easy to talk about the artisans and masons. Now, once we say, yeah, if you are on car, in Zambia, the moment you are on car there, then we'll be able to account for them and do that. I think the issue of separate accounts, consolidated account, any BBA, what is about. I think what is really in the end key, okay, me go around the NIPA kind and accountability on a quarterly basis, and I think that should be done. And threshold, I think those will be administrative issues. If we say, we'll start a new taxa, NIPA people say, on bed dodge in the day, and to me whom we are, then you adjust the tax to be able to do that. And now, because is it Amabutri? Or can I say you move at the exemption of 300 CDs and could do 300, 500. And the current say 100 CD no. Sebi, HSA Bia, Bosumi Bia, was salary and now says Sky won't same no, 3,000. And if you try on 3,000, no, I just sure say a dose, sir. Now 300 to 500, no, so Sebi and Yada now over to me. Now you're in the daily, it won't affect you. There's a chance to avoid the tax. And I am driver, is it Kwame? Kwame can speak of one and the engine I bomb pie man and send a bear, the whole beton. And send our kind as taxes idiot, opposition, back and say, one pay and so on bar, one come. You continue, send your bear. Yebenyesika yedebeye adwuma esese na set can Auditor General asem Auditor General report no because wants 12.2 billion and one say IRA but true to the matter enye so we share report now what to me who said 10 billion out of that are collections that are going on for loans and collections that GRA is also continuing. Now GRA numbers, so they sometimes penalty, they multiply it by 3. And two bedrooms as Sikebi Sumho and a young fire, and yes, sir. But still, no one be what year encourage, send a bayer, give it to me, are collected. And then another 1.8 billion was what they term irregularities. To say via MMDC, a TIA OB 300 CDs and did not fill the correct papers. And yes, Sikana year reporting. Into Oshemua, you won't get that alarmed. Into Sika Yefisheno, a Sika here. You TIA taxes, no. And I was na E-Levy idiot. Say Baby how. Na says a while when him say, you call baby to sell London this within the idea. One tax rate probably 55 or 60%. And there's always a time to start. You start E-Levy. Once 1 year to my own, when you know about net. Now, one so on which year. Will be a plea. Auntie Joyce and so say, Bibi Papa say, I don't know, I'm bantam. I mean, when you know, not your bantam. Now, told booth are somewhere okay. You and a bay million, 78 million. And we are going to lose from that. And the question really for us is, say what the trotro or how they move the heat and all of that, And I should say, Nadi Krempo as a CJ. Send a bear, several sorry, Kojuma, and Yafina, watch not traffic move for another hour or so you know, any bibia a fata. Enti onyame boa E-Levy go through na real roads akwesi person of build the highways no and no na afei de you begin say yeah enti tolls no de beba but a 6-lane highway akwesi se obesi amayen ansa na yakọ then ebe ya trot sem ni adi montra kwan mu abre na you know into chicho ni ade near China your life and so I are better. And to me just say the kojo I can't
Minister, that's it. You're back for second round of questions. About 3 round of questions. But I say KTU Council Chair Professor Pori I say Professor or child drink a crap. But I say Prof who I had say and Professor child drink but your mammy una for microphone in mouth. Prof I say until you be fear say prof na mafa a 9 account mafa 9 account na yet me etio manu dey say prof patch my etio
I can be even where the self and check hina what can be account Mr. Abano said on share MPs DCs na NCC kiti na one more enchire ade mo yebse na me ba ha no Matthias sense the biana ye entokwa wo radio so no enti if say SCC is one of their jobs and this is and yes what you want aduma say be ye ba unya 5 minutes kra na kosresra se a ebeboa because nyame ne kure be ye kra chiri enne Matthias ye more than near ye ti ewo radio so no asema mesre mo ano because yes na ye wonchi PP for say ye NDC for say ye no ya himfri ye timi kan bi papa eso bia no bia ni ba bia ogina it is arms of government na won hwe say wo be mo ademudia won de beyo adwuma no na won ma kyerɛkyerɛ wo nkurase na obia ate ase medase
pa kwacho pani okura kasemu mfiti ase ne kwa kyerɛ kakra nka wo ba anim ha sei kakra ma me anka bɛboa me ti pempeni for be 9 nafa microphone mom na yenti almost asem wa say osofo
hello
pacho me ba ma minti osofo ni na me bravo
yo if I'm your friend Reverend Dr. Michael Usutego mesre senior
Reverend Tego
me pacho senior prof kan no mene ne ya dwen ka ye ya osofo ni sei no enipa dodo na hye yase entinka mesre se adepa se badia ka yamfra asofo ni nyina ni yenyo obi nkyirechire yemu na yenti ase ye na yenso yetimi ko a ye pirichi kura wie ni Yusuf minute ni yetimi de kyirechire members me gidi se ebeko medamasi
medase so fo kan na maka bible mu Christo Christ yemfa Caesar de ma they are a Caesar there is a to ya no krampo no if you say bible mu enyenне Pacho penny be a blue shirt but red tie. Young corner na after mammy you cry Mike near Bapenny. Mammy, Pacho, yes, mammy or cry Mike.
You me das.
Una toss me.
Pacho, your friend Margaret, Mr. Market woman. Miss Remo Meso, Master Cacrade say, Adia, by the bay, Miss Sunamin Tiasia cry. And I may buy her in a much rich him, not Matthias. If you say, ya near your home, now you call IMF, ya. One way you cry, you can catch you say, young Codis homosexual too. If you say, yes, I can show Manu. You need shake. No moment, you may say, Cacran, Sadia, be our statia and Cacra. If you say, yeah, may you can't cry for funny ama. Neja and cry for no doom, yeah, mobile money in your yenny, the mawum. Eti Yadaroma, ye triaha, not Udi manor, ye almost to the back, you know, better trias also. Etika munya di bibi kakra mayen jidia ya ditum pa etise yesuro se ye be ko se IMF no o kranko yesuro ya ko ka kire ye se munyi homosexual tu enya sa o ye nsa so akoche nanum eti di obeka bi ye se ye di so eti no ye mpe eti mra na mudi aba ne de mi se na menti ase enso ena me ba ha no mate ase eti mi ko dwa aso me de ko na ebom ye sra mo se mudi ye start
Kamunya bibi kakrama. Madesra no.
Minister Machokasa, merchant accounts. My menomni and Yanuma Edidija. Merchant accounts. Almost bet you are 20 Biana, so more Modiano. Modican, she says, a merchant account, no Modiano and Kahubi. Ubi Yanoma. Opening by Kukra, nothing. Medase. Namaja, yes, opening.
Honorable Medase, your friend, Honorable Charles Edu Asino, Mayor elected assembly member, Messiah the national president for Ghana Association of Assembly Members. Honorable
President of Ghana Association of Assembly
Members. E-Levy adepa. Na nyaye hu ni se approach na yede eyade no na emwa na me ma me ne kasa no o ka se anka yemfa fi soro ne mo yefa fi ase downward approach no eno betimi aboa me hu ni se yen assembly members no yewo electoral area ba bia Ghana ha ba bia. Eti with this na me papa ne ka se yema MCs ne kwan a omo betima ya adwuma no se mo resource yen assembly members na esa ne se yewo electoral area bia no ye be free community meetings, town hall meetings like this, and the community members will be present. Say ne be ya ye betimi a church muye. And what we need from leadership ne say boba man a little education on this E-Levy and any other government initiative bia or the bebano. Say mama in that education, we the assembly members who are on the grassroots now, you bet me I empower it more than say you be the top approach. And at the biano so no, your information be a bema biano, you the fact NCA brofono any advertisement or radio so no. I am pimpino and cosenia, yeah, you bet my friend Nipananyano 101. Na yen na kasa because o kase o de kofa Adum FM nipa dodo ahina etie Adum FM obi wo ha that time on tie Adum FM o tie different radio on sa advert na koso Adum FM on tie and as e koso UTV a o hwe UTV o hwe ebia City TV and mo fan fire assembly members we are the grassroots. Thank you very much.
Openi we dey me so man bisa wo fo aso na wo mfo aso
me fo aso
ene mpa church me po bi o mfo aso
so
far, as Obi or Jamaica no for us so nanso, me pobi on the on for us so cra. Obi on for us so cra, Namo fa Mike and Mano, Nienti or no so nasem. Boko. A person a tea, oh, the entire buying penny for a banny say, a person a tea, I've been a hodono. Tebe Pacho, fa Mike and Ma, Obi or so on for us so. No son children again, then yes, or more for us on qua day na yeti.
Yo, your friend me.
Ago. But I won't force on our own force.
Me force and I mean some force.
Maybe I have to be some Mr. But me force opening Sabotre. Nipa be do a decan casano. Obia force. Ye pobi on one force, nay, tie or no sooner than tre. If I might can money for wet train or so on. Abani, what's the one for us? Ameba, and teach the entire one for us. The entire one at Casafoni, Nanya drink, no drink.
Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon, but you're frozen.
Benjamin Darko, I'm a student. My tree is not really that good, so I'll communicate purely in English. I have some, initially I wrote down 10 questions, but I'll narrow it down to just 4. My first question is... Benjamin.
Okay, take your time. Are you one of the persons who disagrees with the E-Levy?
Yes, please.
So explain to us why you disagree, what you disagree with, so that I can respond to.
I'm explaining in the form of questions. The first question is, how do we categorize the E-Levy? Is it another income tax, a capital tax, a sales tax, a payment tax, or all of the above? However, one avoids this tax when they opt for cash payment. That is the first question. The second one is, corruption is a major problem that only receives lip service in Ghana. The Auditor General indicates that about 12 billion cedis remain unaccounted for over the last few years.
Ago. Ben, go ahead, we're listening. And then
over the last few years. why E-Levy only rakes in 6.9 billion rather than recovering 12 billion? So why are we not going after the monies that have been lost due to corrupt acts?
And the third
question is, proceeds from E-Levy are pegged towards road and transportation development, youth employment, security, and the growth of the IT infrastructure in the state. The question is, what happens to previously earmarked levies? Communication tax, sanitation levy, ESLA. How have they improved their earmarked sectors? What is the guarantee that E-Levy will be used for its intended purpose?
Thank you, Ben.
The
Ben, thank you.
Population...
Ben, it's okay. Thank you. You gave us 3. I deliberately sought for you, but you gave us 3. Can we get... Hello? Gentleman in the jacket, please. You also this. Oh, Chairman, please, go ahead.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, my name is John Ewua, the CEO of Ghana Association of Banks. Since the bill was laid in Parliament and the discussions have been ongoing, as a trade body, we've been engaging with the minister and his team. I think the very final engagement was just last Monday, where we had a confirmation that a person-to-person bank transfers will not be in scope for the levy. But during the minister's presentation, I saw that the scoped-in services included person-to-person bank transfers. I just need a confirmation whether there's going to be a subsequent amendment that will factor in the agreement that the minister had with the banking industry. What was agreed was that the minister will maintain an administrative right or privilege to reintroduce or scope in person-to-person bank transfer in the event that following the implementation of E-Levy, there is a significant platform shift from the Momo platform to the banking industry. And we agree with the minister on that. So we just believe that, or we are re-emphasizing the agreement we had with the ministry that the person-to-person bank transfers should be scoped out. Thank you very much.
John Ewua, Chief Executive of Association of Bankers. Thank you very much for joining us and for the thoughts that you have shared with us. Minister, I'm going to invite you to respond to these ones, and then I'll come for the very final batch. So Mr. John Ewua and the Bankers Association want clarity on the person-to-person transfer exemption. Benjamin wanted some guarantees. He says he's opposed to it because he's not sure what guarantees we can give that the money will be used for the purpose. And then I think the other comments were requests that other groups should be factored into the education. Minister.
Thank you very much indeed. John, I think you should rest assured about the discussions that we had. Benjamin, you know, the issue for me, Benjamin, is that we should really think very holistically. Benjamin, I'm addressing your question. John, I think I've answered yours. But Benjamin, I have 3 or 4 questions here. Just say what type of tax it is, whether it's income, capital, or whatever. And then the last 2 years, corruption and the Auditor General's report. I'm already, and then the proceeds from other earmarked funds, and I will say what type of guarantee do we have. I think those are all fair questions, but honestly, if you look at the enormity of the problems we have to move to another level. And I think you need to concede that the economy is changing towards virtual economy, e-commerce economy, and that tax handle should be brought into, our arsenal of taxes that are required. Guarantees that we have was what somebody suggested, that we have these quarterly reporting mechanisms and that will be helpful. And it's helpful for all sorts of things. Ben, the way you spoke English, I imagine that you are also quite familiar with macro fiscal numbers. When you talk about other earmark numbers, and you know that we are running a budget deficit, you know that the impact of the COVID was literally about 25 billion. How does a country support that type of contraction in its economy? You also know that compared to other West African or African countries, Ghana, even at this point, was able to eke a positive growth rate. You know what we did during the COVID time that no other African country did. We have about 300,000 people that died on the continent. Ghana was 1,379. So you need to give credit where credit is due and be able to advise yourself as to the integrity of the numbers and what that means to you when you are doing your analysis. And where there's praise, there should be. Where there's caution, there should be. So issues of quarterly reporting to encourage transparency is what matters. And it's not a start idea, no, because I can't know my effect. Muka brochia, na mwenyeji, unim taxes I won't ya, intia, oko hoya fesano. Na oba ukrom dia, pese utiyebi. And unnecessary onso dream. Adi, Obakasa Charles and Margaret, and so the issue of a gradual approach to the taxes. And on yate, as I say, but I mean, for a cancer, if you are never den dodo, any ate, and I mean, so you go around that, yet that same Asemna on Kano. Intina Yane, a friend saying, Telcos no Kokaye, then you bay I want the no back for more. Now you relieve citizens. Now so Sikai here, you debay a Juma Yakaya no say employment, any and debt infrastructure no, not still and Saka, send you bay a me a Jumano. Margaret and Zuka say something a little bit more gradual. Now Margaret, ABI is only Mr. Benjamin Darko and Sukasa. And now what you say, I am a Fadiano, and you BBS a cohopra. Into no can't the technical no matter what type of tax in idea on drink near Beba ABC, the co IMF. And he announced now BB or Honso a friend. Merchant accounts. Just a merchant accounts no register of GRA. Not just no, you are exempt from it because now they have the capacity on between attract Sika once a year. And it's going through the merchant account, you become part of the formal economy and you also get exempted from that. Minister.
Yedi enkomodi no eba ewiye yedi bisa anadwentra itapo enan ene bewie medical fa ba ko yedi krata abrem yesi Dr. Isaac Asare ne kosa ne se 1.75 no ebeba be ka dia telcos no eje deda no ho ana menim se mo kyerem but communications minister mesra so obeba na oba be kyerem se 1.75 no eba be ka be 2% na telcos no deda no mo gye no ho ana and our telcos need to be free. The communications minister, me from Wabiano. Openi Pacho Kasa Wiena, Obema Yawa Kasa, Nankama, Yemiano Maminu, Eso Akasa, Nafia, the Incomodina baby, and found Fiase.
Yo, Medindi, Dr. Samuel Amponsa, I'm a management consultant and I'm a reverend minister as well. Mediano ye, Asembisa Nesanya Genchile. I believe strongly, say, Ghanaians are discerning people. But the policy be say ba na yantimi anchromu year. Eventually the opposition party will take over the argument. Na obi kase yebetimi ma parliamentarians are communicating the change to the people. But we know say we have 50% share in the parliament. So eventually, when you want to communicate this message to the people, you are targeting 50%. And in the communication minister, if there's any communication channels or distributive channels via what they are talking say E-Levy tomorrow, how is she going to drive this communication thing to the people of Ghana? Now, say if there are any strategies via media to Kwemua, even you say your parliamentarians no, even your basic schools in the crowd. When the student is empowered, obetimi akofia kochene mame. Enti yentimi nchire emu yenti da debia no Ghana for rejecting any proposal we bring on board. Enti yamanchire mu no kwa nimu a megidi say yebeji atum na ebetimi aye ho adwuma. Me da se doc, ye da se. Pacho openi okra kase. Hello ma utwato netio. Hello.
Areas. If I'm a Prince Kofiba areas kewo eniboni echi. I'm a grassroots communicator. I am important move for. A chinyebia abba ho was E-Levy ho. Mofra ni mpenifo aja yanko school ni ade ye form na yanti ase no. No mo dia soma me se me bis openi na nkasa. Na me femre wo. Die etie ni se. Omo kire se me bisa se. Ye se wo sani mobile money dia ye betew. Mi sa se. Sika dodo ahi na onipa ni send a. Mo betimi ati. Na dia mo betimi ate no dodo sen na mo betimi ate free size ka ne so eno pe enehia sa 20% ni 7.5% no mo ntia se ti mi sa sika atwa sika okay mo beti free so na me kan tro me pa cho ya te ya da se pa na pa cho o fi na ba e openi o fi na ba e Bajo mate yeda se me bacho ye pe mai twato mienu e mai twato mienu me ko bi na man ka bi de enye mai twato mienu ye nya ma eno ne pese tie oba ba ku jina ha se ana pamcho mo fa kasemu no mo oba no wa ha no pamcho mo fa kasemu no mo oba no mesre mo a mo fa mo oba no na yentie no mesre mo ani biem na ye wi a oba bi ama ne nsa so nti opani ye wi a oba
Me pacho yo sema pia pokia me kasafi afima FM Koforidua.
Pacho fra say.
Ensamo no yati ase ya chirechire mo tie akire ye. Me pacho yo sema pia pokia me kasafi afima na enano pe question obi bisa me na me so me ba bisa mo no. So me send sika 1,000 cedis ama honorable Kojo upon Kroma. Na sa me person we yi me 1,000 cedis se be di 10 cedis. Eto so say de be ya bro Kojo betimi yi 1,000 pepepe. Me so me send sika no ye beti me 10 cedis. E be 20 Ghana which is 2% and a telcos in airting. Question e say afi bia no anabosu me bia so adentina aban no enti sa taxi yi enfita cost no because omo na nya sika ni bebre e bia me mama akosua foreign be di afiansa ne mama ne 10 million enti sa afeni na me ntani sika mama e beti sa tax na fiso a o my Ghana ye nko ye ni mo mpuntunyu mu ana me da say
if you that say her question is about how much revenue does the state make from the telco charges and why are we not going that route as against this one. Madam.
Pacho, Mr. Midi Florence is a female FM. And say, before say you record the Bruno, yet say Honorable Minister, Finance Minister, or modified E-Levy, no, and I was submitted a parliament. Into say, Miss Annie say, I did not buy your bogu, your modify, your send your parliament. Into where you are, judge in Treno, they also have modifications in your parliament. And now, sir, you're too much regard of us, a mupo, you're betting to Montiasia.
That's it. So what is the impact of this town hall meeting on the processes in Parliament? Opening me the one baby first saying
the Premier Abraham Damtelenkon.
Abraham.
Yeah, I'm a public servant.
Okay, Abraham, you too.
Now, Mestre Namaka said I thought there'd be a policy implementation communication, no? A how my Ghana. Okay, E-Levy
a policy and answer BBIA, near the Abuat Memufua, or my Ganimu. Then some say home comodino and court to set the nurse echo. In the mestre, say, Yenyanum DCs, any MCs or Wahano, one more the answers animal befa. Now, what you should don't broadcast a community information system at work and Patamon Petamo Wumno. Now, one church and some year and from a man for Sunday Baya or man for Nobetiasia. The Tosum Yenua make on once and say, a year, Turcos no, the Tiano Yadia and go for the Hoya ye. It's an so come my bisua. Mobile money, Kenya. A free. What send there? A free. Oko receiving so a free. And the has said the another thing at Tekos no. We emphasize now. Yes, what Jessica, a fee, the all send her. Not the Oka yin so, what Jessica fin her. Your best rabbi say, Woms who are ye be as one no Casa, Emanaba form. Uncle Swan on Casa Sanya Baya. The Tria, ever sending it there. Once you go here, what you know, obey me, I'm an abafom, now boy, money in Ampuntu. Medase, Mumia mine in I who I didn't try at our town hall meeting. Honorable Communications Minister Pachona Abedi can hear we are Finance Minister Babonnet of our mind.
Pacho Obi Bisa say ye tria E-Levy no aka the telcos no eje na ani telcos no ye ne won edi komo enyansa wo so bebre ema omo a eje eto ewa adwuma na omo ye no omo apne so se ombete so kakra ama amanfo ho aharewo sana burden no enka adeswa no na enusmu ayeha kakra ama ye nyina ti ni omo adi nkomo ama omo ankasa atomo anum tuo se oha nchichemu aduonu enum ombe yi afi charges na omo ema no na omo soso edi aboa ban na yadeswa no ankrankre nyanke betua no eso ati enti eho no nkyerɛkyerɛmu a ɛwɔ hɔ no ɛno no obi nso pɛso hu nya percentage 1.75 no ntiaseɛ ti sɛ o sende 300 Ghana ubetua 3 cedis 50 pesos if it's a first 100 no ɛyɛ free enti 200 na ɛda so no ɛno nso toɔ ɛna ubetua ɛyɛ 1.75 no enti 3 cedis 50 pesos na bɛba abɛtɔ so amawatua sɛ wo sende 300 Ghana dakroa pato ɛno no ɛyɛ easier to understand ana telcos no ɔmo sɛ yɛbɛka yi a me na me free board dawuro sɛ yɛnye momo ho tax no akyɛ koraa ansa covid no ɛɛba da biara meka nanso meka mpanimfoɔ sɛ daabi yɛnhwɛ na yɛma saa ecosystem yi enyi ne ntompɔn kakra ne yɛhu sɛ deɛ esi kɔ na ɛbaa yɛnkyɛeɛ enti me ntomebo kakra covid yi baa yɛhwɛ sɛ deɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛbɔ otwi yɛyusu yɛ na asɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛate aseɛ sɛ ɛyɛ ade a aba abɛtena ɛyɛ ade a yɛn nyinaa yɛbɛyus a yɛde bɛbɔ yɛn bra enti afei wɔnyi aduru ne mpanin fie so a yɛbɛtumi adi saa nkita ho no afa ho nti ɛno nso ka ho bi ɛna aba saa service charges na telcos no agyeɛ no afei so a ɔmo tua ho ɔmo de ka ɔmo mfa so ɔmo ayɛ no nyinaa na ɔmo atua ɛtoɔ ɛwɔ ho ɔmo tete ɔho aka na nti ɛhɔ no me na me nso me pere sɛ yɛmfa yɛma yɛni nkɔ hɔ ɔne yɛma me nya asa nkyerɛkyerɛmu ne sɛ yɛde ka wɔn mfa so a ɔmo yɛ afemu no nyinaa ho ne yɛka bom na yɛtwa ɛtoɔ a ɛwɔ so ɔmo tua ɛfa ho no ama wɔn na ɔmo nso so atua saa toɔ no nti wohwɛ mu a na ultimately no ɔmo tua saa ɛtoɔ no ɛnyɛ nokorɛ sɛ Kenya woyusu mobile money a wontua ɛtoɔ biara ɔmo pɛ sɛ sɛdeɛ yɛn nso so yɛpɛ sɛ yɛma amanfoɔ eyusu sika no ɛwɔ platform ne so nyɛ sɛ ɔkɔ akɔyi sika no afidie no mu na wode akɔdi dwa fɛdi dwa ɛwɔ platform naa so nti yɛde momo ne sɛnde wa men kɔkɔyi sika no ɛno wokɔyi sika no a ɔmbɛtew telcos ne bɛtew nti mfaso a bɛnya wɔ mu no na ɛso ahwere na sɛ woyusu wɔ platform ne so deɛ a ɛka biara ɛni ho Kenya nso saa wokahye out a wotua nti ɛnyɛ nokorɛ sɛ charges biara ni hɔ ɛma mobile money users mpo company bi wɔ man mu ha ɔno nso so woyusu momo na ɔnye wo ho sika nti companies na ɛsono ɔmo nhyehyɛeɛ a ɔmo ayɛ ɛwɔ saa ayi no ɛho ɛm sɛ communication ne deɛ information minister obeyi ɛno ano ama yɛn because na ne dwasuo mu a no ne responsibility na obeye enti I think I've answered.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's invite the Minister responsible for finance. Honorable Finance Minister, your responses to the issues that have been raised. May I ask Reverend Dr. Kofi Akono to stand by for the closing prayer.
Thank you very much. Rebecca said, Honorable Esla, I responded to most of the questions by, I think of communication or information there. Kojobeye Amayen. Rebecca said, Ekua, and all can say, Aden Ayan taxi, your friends saying telephone companies, Ekua, near companies there, you have a taxi one, and it's a continuing business. Now, I dare say a TSC, I'm kind from the beginning and say, you move 2.4 million per in the tier taxes. In the same hour, concern, over say, oh, Angel Bia. Na 2.4 million for non-qua in tier. Nia Fakwa ye duo, ye my imun, as a sea in a trib. As a sea in a trib in Tianshe, where Obia Betria, Nidia, Sanya Baya or Mai, Beko Yanim. Because Fakwa ye dui, Sanya Mekaya no, Oshe unemployment a same year, a BBI Fata. Necessary in Yesikano, na yetimi train, Mofrey, send a bear one so, one bejina had to send a agent hay, one year Juma pa 1 year, and as a one best start to Juma, send a bear stress on public sector employment, a cofom. So we have general unemployment, bay 13%, and unemployment between the ages of 15 to 35, almost 19.7%. About one every universities in a day, our Manchester between the age of 15 and 24, unemployment is 32.8%. Say in dignity, I intimate use one energy near the one, and then I say, as I see a chasso, na yako. Necessary nina yeso, a juma as I say ye, na yede gana ko. Fakwa, SSACO. Into Yina, a rally behind our red, gold, green, make the black star shine, tackle our needs, not depend on the West. As Margaret Kyan also, our free the market, avoid the IMF. If so, Nimsenia IMF was same ever. Into Sikai every 1.75 I Kayano. Definitely Parliament will be pass within the next few days. Send a bear, you bet me a share a Jumanase. na yɛn nso ɛkɔ forward no ebi a finance wɔn nso ɛsɛ sɛ yɛbɛ out more ne yɛn mo bɔ nkɔmɔ sɛnea mo bɛ hu but sometimes yɛkɔ parliament a nɔɔma no ɔmpɛ sɛ nipa hu ansa na wadu hɔ nti yɛbɛ balance na yɛ consult yie but mesrɛ mo sɛnea yɛaba ha yɛn mo abɔ nkɔmɔ yi mo nso mo nkɔnka nkyerɛ mo namfo nom sɛ dwuma pa na yɛpɛ sɛ yɛde yɛ yɛbɛ report on a quarterly basis mo ahu sɛnea yɛ use mo sika no na onyame nhyira yɛn na yɛn nyinaa yɛn build this great and mighty nation. Thank you very much indeed.
Honorable Koforidua, Yedawase, Reverend Dr. Kofi Amfo Akono Pacho Bramin Sabunkum so I say, Ubebon Payama in Sesia, and to be a friend, the Honorable Alexander Fenyo Malkin, Emma no Eddie Abain, Enim Ada, Ghana Phone, now Monia Bre, Ashe, Etienne, and Enumri, Nevi Enumri, Wadamunina Siamai. Now, Senior Minister Kayano and Comodino, to say a parliament, Yedi Kayade, Assembly to Parliament, Enimino, or Minimum Comodino, Senior FIACNO, Assemblyman for NCC4, MP4, NDC4, JD4, Driver 4 near Dienina, Yin Ebeti of Wegum, na Yaya Sempatre Jumano, Mobiata. So, Honorable Alexander Fenyomakin, Pacho, Bejina buying him, na anasa Bejina Manfoni and him, not Dasi, Ewa binding my mind.
So, Kojo, thank you so much. Our dear audience, first, thank you for your patience. You have participated. This is the whole essence of governance. And I must say that kudos to the opposition NDC in Parliament. The opposition has brought governance to your doorstep. I am happy that we hear better late than never. So, our friends in the NDC, thank you. That's the beauty of democracy. But I want to assure you that for the commitment from their side, I'm not sure we are going to exchange brows. And it's not good for our country. So that assurance is to you. Now, in this whole engagement, we've been able to establish and demonstrate that we mean well. Government has been able to tell you that from 2017 to date, it has kept faith. 2, through this engagement, we've been able to tell you that this levy is not being imposed merely for the sake of it. After all, we have introduced major social intervention policies that we did not have to introduce taxation to implement. So be assured that with all the concerns from the Auditor General, all the concerns that we have regarding how public funds are spent, the issues that have come up to ensure transparency, especially in the implementation of this E-Levy, will be taken on board. Yet don't want to say, if you two say, Nyamisha one, Ghana many mina say, Nyamisha Koforidua, oh yeah, Yaba Koforidua was it, Koforidua flowers, much of their hand me a few ampa. Nyamisha one that was say one ember, Obibiara Abasa ember is the atejumezi echi. You when you sume there, cancer anka kebmem kebi hu mentem wansa mba. Nche bia ye mba ha. Ami ma fam no mezi Koforidua fo ka papa. Osande mekejina parliament menu aye toto. Mo de hia mo yi ne there ombra parliament. Ofam da ne ba nunua kakraba ni student no church menzemem na misumete nzeme bi ase oye opinion a okona homjim mark esebe yeboa nti Koforidua ze is a place of inspiration na yenua be fi so wa manumodo a ori yedwuma pa oza aboa omani nti mi gisi pa de se yesen bebi wa obagina tu nyame hye ho ejo Koforidua se odo ho na ase Mama, me sister paying me auntie, Madam Esla, also other one I say. Oh, man paying Akufado, also Nyamisha. The Nipapomo, Nibonmo, Yafewani, the Ghana for the young Kokan, na Kasuwa Yanaka, Nyamisha. As a patching here now, what akoko no kokoko a na ɔyɛ aban ne ndase kɛsekɛse na ɔsɛ mo ho yɛda wɔn ase pii
bɔntɔn no nyinaa yɛ sɔre na yɛn gye mpaebɔ.
Mr. Mama Yamompa, Otumfo Nyankopɔn a woyɛ yɛn soro agya ɛnnɛ da yi wayi wo ho adi akyerɛ yɛn wode wo dom w'ahomɔbɔ ne wo nhyira awowa yɛn ɛma town hall meeting a yɛabɛyɛ yi akɔ so fɛfɛfɛfɛ yɛn a ne yɛnte nneɛma ase yɛate aseɛ mpaeɛ a yɛrebɔ no sɛ ɔman biara nkyekyereyɛ ɔmanfoɔ ne kyekyere ɛnyɛ obi na ɛfiri baabi ɛbɛkyekyere ma yɛn enti boa yɛn ne yɛn nyinaa sɛ Ghana manfoɔ yɛmfa koma ɛnri nea ɛrekɔ so yɛ akyi na yɛn nyinaa obiara kyɛfa a ɛwɔ mu no watumi ayɛ na boa ɛma mpuntu aba ɛde ama yɛn man yɛn mpanimfoɔ ɛbaayɛ wɔfiri ha kɔ yɛsrɛw sɛnea daa wosoa wɔn de wɔn kɔ de wɔn ba no fa wɔn kɔduru asomdwoe mu nnipa ɛbaayɛ nyinaa ma obiara ɛnya w'anim anuonyam ɔdom ne asomdwoe a ɛfiri agya Nyankopɔn ɔba ne Honhom Kronkron ɛnka mo na Awurade anim teɛ ne mo nkɔ na Awurade ɛma yɛn abɛn yi adesuadehu a ɔwɔ no ɛmmerɛ mu na yɛn nyinaa yɛn ho ntɔ yɛn yɛyɛ Awurade ne agye nkwa Yesu nti amen.
ɔsɔfo yɛda ase yɛbɛto yɛn ayɛ asase nde na mpanimfoɔ no apie na yɛn nyinaa yɛdi
Say ye be ye bia twaso nim dia twaso kunto krane Say be ye yo say ye yo na ose I'm for brand Say be ye yo Seviye yo na ose amafo pranetre Okay, so Yenera Assassini Ampa. So Townhall meeting a course over Koforidua and now Kofana life at the Bravo. The moon same the watchina and your Becca. One person or person in Yati. Same me some for we say in Yati himself. No, watching by him. And in the end, change no my home bullet in Yadiaba. The veteran was in Yakum. The home seminar, but some of their bone not pouncing my watching. Obezi rekasa ajijima soka kra fine. Konfanya kwa kra so fanya jimo tata ko bonu nsi mbako fakase bono. E de abramo. Medin ade Richard Kuju ha ana me sorry jimo dire so we e face to face ani de bramo. Makramo mamu nyina bye.
Ghana Waves, the best internet radio for Ghanaians abroad.